This is our main character. His name is Jack. Not just Jack, but Jack Raker. He is one of the strongest warriors of the Six Realms. A red iron ranked warrior. But that isn't enough. Because he is the only one in his clan who couldn't awaken the power known as light aura. He was hunted by stronger individuals, driven to the brink of despair. In his dying breath, a dragon slayer was chosen by a dragon spirit. It gave him a chance to reincarnate back to the very beginning of his life. The system granted him a unique profession with immense power, the immortal, allowing him infinite regeneration. And once again, a former top-tier powerhouse of the Six Realms enters an academy, bullying mere kids. Do you want to know how he serves them a beating? Follow me. On the icy peaks of towering snowy mountains, the wind howled, carrying flakes of snow, making the cold even more piercing. A voice echoed from within a small cave. You fool! Do you think you can escape our encirclement? Where is the ancient relic hidden? A disheveled man gasped for breath, his voice laced with pain. He raised his eyes, filled with defiance, and said, Idiot, if you were me, would you tell? Both of his arms had been severed. His face bore long scars, likely remnants of bloody battles. He wore a tattered cloak over his shoulders. His attire hinted that he was a swordsman. Beside him lay a massive, sharp sword, dragging his heavily injured body. He used the last ounce of his strength to lean against a boulder. Standing opposite him were two men dressed in black. One of them, hooded and visibly furious, clenched his teeth and yelled, You arrogant bastard! He prepared to charge at the wounded man. The other man, more composed, raised his hand to stop him, saying, Forget it. We need to contact the main team first. Then he pulled out a green stone from his pocket. It resembled a communication device. We've captured the Northern Phantom. Please confirm our coordinates. He spoke. From the other end, a voice responded. Coordinates confirmed. We'll arrive soon. He turned back to look at the injured man leaning against the boulder. The man they called the Northern Phantom. You're really stubborn. I can't believe you're still holding on, even after your arm was severed. But why? Why does the Phantom of the North target the relic that the Emperor seeks? The hooded figure standing beside him replied in a firm voice. What other reason could there be? He's just trying to cause trouble. We've endured him for far too long. Let's enjoy this moment before the main team arrives. To return all the hardships we've been through. The Phantom of the North kept his gaze steady, though he seemed to be calculating something. Without hesitation, the two men in black drew their swords, ready to torture him. You better prepare yourself, Phantom of the North. They sneered. We won't stop until you're begging for death. Decide who's going first. Knowing time was running out, they decided to flip a coin to determine who would strike first. The hooded man eagerly spoke. If it's heads, I'll go first. On the other side, Phantom of the North. At some point, the Phantom of the North had clenched his severed arm between his teeth, placing it against his wound. Through some inexplicable force, the arm began to reconnect and heal itself. With his eyes glowing with unwavering determination, he thought, I won't let it end like this. Not without doing anything. Turned out, he was the first awakened of the 7 failures. From the Draker family. His name was Jack Draker, born into a great family of assassins. Jack possessed a body incapable of wielding light energy. Awakening as one of the 7 failures was practically inevitable for a knight, seen as trash and cast out by his family. Jack had done whatever it took to grow stronger, to survive. People say that if you only chase strength, you'll end up with nothing. But that's nonsense, spoken only by the strong. And it's also the truth of this world. After reconnecting his arm to his body, drawing strength from the frozen ground and his relentless will to live, Jack stood up, gripping his sharp sword. He charged forward at the speed of light. The hooded man eagerly caught the coin midair, revealed its result, and exclaimed excitedly, Perfect! It's heads! But before he could say another word, a flash of light streaked past him, taking his head clean off. His comrade stood frozen, unable to react. No one else but Jack could have done this. With sharp, piercing eyes, Jack turned to the remaining man. He charged forward and swung his sword, breaking the enemy's blade in a single strike, cutting through both his weapon and his body. Blood sprayed violently in all directions. After taking care of the two enemies, Jack glanced back, sighing in despair. "Damn it! Perhaps I won't make it out of this alive," he muttered. A squad of men in black, allies of the two Jack had just dealt with, was closing in. Jack, however, didn't seem afraid of anything. He drove his sword into the ground, used his arm, already healed earlier, to pick up his severed hand, and reattached it. Then, without hesitation, he began walking toward the men in black. The scene unfolding before their eyes filled them with terror. One of them stammered. Did he just reattach his hand? What a monstrous freak. Another sneered. No matter what, he'll die if we cut off his head. Once his arms were fully restored, Jack and the men in black lunged into a fierce battle, a fight for survival. Blades pointed straight at Jack from all directions. As the battle came to an end, Jack collapsed near his sword, which was still embedded in the ground. His back was riddled with countless blades piercing through him. Surrounding him lay lifeless bodies clad in black. His voice weakened as he gasped. "Damn it!" Blood spilling from his mouth. It was clear he was gravely wounded, and death was imminent, even if he couldn't exact revenge. He had accomplished something. He had stolen the artifact the Emperor had been searching for. From his coat pocket, he pulled out a dragon-shaped artifact. Trembling, he gripped it tightly with the last of his strength and whispered, "I'm sorry, Alicia." Drops of blood from the wounds on his face fell onto the artifact, causing it to glow. A system interface appeared. Your unwavering willpower can awaken an ancient force. The soul of an elder dragon has been etched into the resolve of the persistent. A cloaked figure appeared behind Jack, emanating a powerful, radiant light. Emergency protocol activated. Jack Raker, do you accept? With a hopeless expression, Jack thought to himself that these words were meaningless, given that he was on the verge of death. Whatever, do as you please, he thought bitterly. The system responded. The agreement of the awakened has been confirmed. An irreversible power is being activated. Countdown begins. 5, 4, 3, 2. The scene shifted. A young boy stood before a mirror, his black hair and gray eyes staring back at him. Slowly, he raised his hand to touch his face. After regaining consciousness, "Do I really look like this now?" he murmured. He gently placed his hand on the mirror's surface. Jack had returned to the past. It was almost unbelievable, yet he could still vividly feel the sensation of blades piercing his stomach. The person appearing in the mirror was none other than a rich, mature version of himself, imprisoned in an icy cavern. ***. Jack quietly lay on the bed from his childhood, thinking, this place feels so familiar. It was the cradle. The scene outside Jack's room revealed a massive fortress surrounded by towering, thick, and formidable walls. This was none other than the Draker Family Training Academy, also called the Cradle. The Draker family was known as the Dragon Slayer clan. Raker, one of the three great families, was founded by the hero Telekin Raker, who saved the 6 realms by slaying the ferocious dragon Bahamut during a war 1 year ago. Since then, the descendants of Telekin Raker established the Draker clan. It was said that the descendants of this bloodline were blessed by the light aura, allowing them to awaken high-tier light aura easily and become knights. Except for Jack. While Jack lay comfortably on the bed, a sudden system alert appeared, forcing him to sit upright. The management system is rebooting. Did I mishear that? He wondered, glancing around. The system continued transmitting information. Confirmed. The soul of the awakened one. The soul of the awakened one has been verified as 100% compatible. The soul of the chosen awakened one has accepted the will of the ancient dragon and fully integrated. Jack's face reflected his confusion as the system kept notifying. You have access to a portion of the system. Nice to meet you. Jack activated the status window. A system panel appeared before him. Jack remarked, "This looks a lot like the magical videos of the past." The system displayed. Status window activated. Administrator low-level Jack Raker. Class * healing mage, a rare factor. Title * blessed by the ancient dragon. Specialty skills * healing. Calm recovery. Strengthened perception. Combat skills * precise stab, E-tier rookie. Slash, E-tier rookie. Critical strike, D-tier rookie. Current karma * none. After reviewing his current abilities, Jack began exploring the system interface. He swiped through it with his hand, moving the panel left and right. He leaned on his hand, deep in thought. So I can interact with this like in those magical videos. The system revealed additional tabs for professions and skills. Interestingly, dragon language, an ancient tongue, had long been obsolete in the current age. The master once said, in ancient times, people classified themselves into professions based on what they were skilled at. Each profession trained in a specialized technique called a skill. Since your profession is a healing sorcerer, you can use the skill known as healing. Rick recalled the moment, still pale with fear from his awakening. She had trained him so rigorously for the healing art that he nearly died. Yet, thanks to the healing skill, he had managed to survive countless ordeals. Jack began to ponder. Regardless, according to the status window, I am a healing sorcerer. Let's test if the status window is accurate. His hands emitted a mysterious light. He remembered the moment he became a healing sorcerer in his previous life. It was when he was in his 20s, right after the Angel Hall was unlocked. Purple energy radiated out, and his eyes turned violet, following that energy. So, it's true. Maiar Hall has been unlocked. Finally, he understood. Even though the body he had trained before was no longer his, he had returned to the past with both his skills and memories intact. Compared to his state before regression, he was now in a much more advantageous position. Satisfied with what he had, he sat down on the bed happily and began exploring himself through the system window. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door. Young Master Jack, may I come in? Jack, still bewildered about how to close the system window, watched as the door slowly opened. I'm coming in now. I can't believe you're still not ready. What on earth were you thinking? An older man entered. His hair was neatly slicked back, and he wore a butler's suit. A pair of glasses rested on his head, giving him a tidy and refined appearance. This was Jack's personal servant, Diker. Jack, not understanding what Diker was referring to, asked back, ready for what? It dawned on him then that only he could see the system window. Diker shot Jack a sharp, disapproving look and spoke in a stern tone that made Jack shiver. Are you seriously asking me that? Young Master Jack. Jack thought back and realized how intimidating Diker could be. Even though his mind now held the experience of a 32-year-old, his body still remembered the fear etched into it. Suddenly, his calm mind skill was activated, and all his anxiety disappeared. The system window seemed to respond automatically, activating to help him. Jack sat quietly, gazing at the system window, seeing Jack's lack of response. Diker grew agitated. I've repeated this countless times. This is an important event. Are you even listening? Young Master Jack. Jack calmly responded. Of course, Diker. You're talking about the Pancreson Assessment Test 01, right? The scene shifted to his childhood, revealing a vivid memory. The Draker family was widely known for one thing. Every member underwent a rigorous training system called the Cradle, which began at the age of 7. For 5 years, they endured strict basic training. However, each year, instructors would evaluate the new students through various tests, including swordsmanship competitions and Pancreson combat. Pancreson combat had no rules. Opponents were chosen by the instructors. Sometimes, however, students could choose their opponents if both parties agreed. Because there were no rules, some matches ended with injuries or even death. But since these brutal tests determined the class of students would enter at the academy, the children had no choice but to give everything they had in battle. The scene transitioned to a grand arena. Massive walls surrounded the exterior, while inside, spectator stands loomed over a vast battleground below. A tall man stood in the center of the arena, his voice booming. As you all know, today is the Pankerson Combat Tournament. I trust everyone understands what this means. This is the final stage of the assessment, isn't it? Yes. The unified roar of the students below echoed through the arena. The man crossed his arms behind his back, his tall, handsome figure standing with poise. His neatly combed brown hair glistened under the light as he continued. Good. It seems everyone's spirits are high. Let's begin immediately. Prepare yourselves. He was none other than Panmark, the head instructor. Below him, the students stood with determined gazes, responding in unison. Yes. Among them, a boy noticed Jack, his expression filled with surprise. He whispered to a less attentive friend beside him. That's Jack. The crowd around Jack murmured amongst themselves. Humiliated last year, and yet he's still here this year? If I were him, I'd have run away. How is he even part of the main bloodline? Poor guy. Aaron guitar. Step forward. Panmark's powerful voice cut through the chatter. Yes. Two students stepped onto the arena floor, taking their fighting stances. Standing between them, Panmark raised his hand, shouting loudly, "Prepare to begin." The two students lunged at each other with incredible speed, one throwing a punch while the other launched a high kick. The match ended quickly. That's what happens when you don't properly defend yourself. Guitar can't continue. Arn wins. Panmark shouted. Rich, sitting in the stands, looked tired as he watched the fight. Yawning lazily, he propped his head on his hand and thought, I remember being terrified of it when I was younger, but these guys, they're nothing. He yawned again, unaware that across the stands, Jack was sitting there, a student glaring at him with a sinister look. Finally, it was Jack's turn to fight. His opponent was none other than Leon, who had been watching him closely since the start of the matches. Zig appeared tired and uninterested, but on the other side, Leon looked eager, itching to crush Jack. Jack, Leon, are you two ready? Panmark called out. Yes, they replied. Jack rubbed his eyes, thinking, so my opponent is Leon. Huh. Leon smirked provocatively. Look at you, back again. Are you? Looks like I didn't deal with you thoroughly enough last year. Jack recalled the moment with a faint smile and thought to himself, well, whatever. Memories flooded back. Last year, Jack, one of the 7 failures, had been humiliatingly defeated during the exam. He was forced to kneel before Leon, begging for his life. Like a parasite, Leon had always been his rival, scheming behind his back every year, and his family would spout nonsense like, you must endure such underhanded tactics to truly become a dragon slayer. Why does trash like him have to be my cousin? Jack thought bitterly. Rich smirked mockingly as he glanced at Leon. In his past life, the 4 direct bloodline siblings never had the chance to meet face to face, but there were dozens of other siblings, always ready to bully him. Suddenly, Leon said, I've got to admit, Jack Draker, you've got guts to come back here after getting utterly beaten last time. Leon sneered as he looked at Jack. At that moment, the system automatically activated. The calm mind skill again. Jack felt his confidence return, no longer trembling as he had before. He calmly replied, don't call me that again. I won't go easy on you this time. In an instant, Leon stormed toward Jack, grabbing his hair in fury. Oh, yeah, and what are you gonna do about it? You lowly dog. Smack! A powerful attack sent Leon flying backward. The system had activated the critical strike skill at level D, inflicting devastating damage on the enemy. However, the skill came with a risk. It could be countered if the attack failed. After being hit by Jack's attack, Leon clutched his face and screamed, My face! My face! What just happened? Even Jack was surprised by the power he now possessed. I only meant to knock him unconscious, but my skill activated on its own. When I punch normally, I can't fully control this power. He muttered. Jack raised his hand, powerful aura surrounding it. What are you doing, Rich Raker? Shouted Panmark, who was sitting next to Leon, slumped over and observing the situation. You attacked before I even declared the start. Jack sneered. Who announces a start in the middle of a battlefield? Anyway, with a dangerous expression and the energy surging around him, he added, the one who strikes first always has the advantage. Bam Mark looked at Jack, a hint of fear in his expression. He could sense the bloodlust emanating from Jack. Leon, trembling, tried to reassure himself. I'm okay, sir, he said, though his voice betrayed his fear. Bam Mark turned to Leon, worried, but Leon's red eyes burned with anger. Grinding his teeth, he roared, kill that filthy lowlife. Rich, unfazed, responded mockingly. Looks like you're too stupid to learn your lesson. Prepare yourselves, Bam Mark announced as the duel officially began. Leon darted forward like a gust of wind, charging straight at Jack, who took a defensive stance. The earlier punch from Jack had shaken Leon, but he quickly calmed himself. Staying on high alert, he was particularly wary of Jack's left hand, ready to dodge a counterattack at any moment. As Leon anticipated, Jack threw a punch. Leon ducked swiftly, grabbed Jack's leg, and used his other hand to push from behind, attempting to throw Jack to the ground. He yelled, "Die, you filthy lowlife!" But instead of Jack, it was Leon who was slammed to the ground. What just happened? Leon gasped in shock, while Bam Mark stared at Jack in disbelief. I thought Leon would win. But Jack landed a clean punch to Leon's chin and escaped his grasp. It was Leon's mistake for letting his guard down, assuming he had caught Jack. But Jack remained calm and precise, countering with impeccable focus and accuracy to deliver such a devastating blow. Is this really the Jack Raker I know? Bam Mark muttered, unable to believe his eyes. Jack strode confidently toward Leon, exuding the pride of someone holding victory firmly in his grasp. Leon stood in a furious daze, unable to retaliate, choosing instead to increase the distance between them. Asterisk asterisk. Suddenly, Jack aimed directly at Leon's leg and unleashed a powerful kick. Asterisk what the hell? How can someone so small be this strong? Asterisk Leon thought as he collapsed to the ground. You lowly runt. Leon spat, unable to contain his rage, charging toward Jack with a punch. How dare you? Jack, seemingly in control of his newfound strength, activated the system's heightened sense mode, temporarily enhancing all his senses. Jack effortlessly sensed Leon's punch coming and dodged it with ease. Grabbing Leon's arm, Jack forcefully threw him over his shoulder. Bam! Another thunderous impact echoed as dust and debris filled the air. The system then triggered Jack's precise stab skill, targeting Leon's weak points and delivering a critical blow. Jack lunged toward Leon, grabbed him by the neck, slammed him to the ground, and used his overwhelming strength to finish him off. Jack roared, "Even an idiot like you can take away a lesson from this. Huh? Keep trying, and you'll find out." The surrounding students stared at Jack in fear. As the fight concluded, Jack stood up, slicked back his hair with a hand, and said, "Breaking a sweat clears your head, doesn't it? A few more matches, and I'll recognize everyone here." He gestured with his fingers, inviting anyone brave enough to step forward. His face, still speckled with blood from the battle, reflected his unshaken confidence. From the crowd on the grandstand, a young man with fiery red hair stood up and called out, "Jack Raker, I challenge you." Standing below, Jack slid his hands into his pockets and smirked. "Oh, look who it is. Jaken Violet, another one of my dear cousins." Jaken replied smugly, "Like you said, I've got something to say to you." Jack shrugged. "Fine, but just you? That sounds boring. Hey, Lionstone, why don't you join in too?" Lionstone, Jaken's muscular servant who followed him everywhere, stepped forward. Jaken, feeling insulted, clenched his fists in anger. Jack smirked, adding sarcastically, "Now that's what I call a fair fight." Jaken's teeth ground in frustration. But on the other side of the crowd, Zik cheered enthusiastically, provoking Jaken further. "That's right. You fool. Your pride's written all over your face." Jaken glared at Jack with burning rage, thinking to himself, "I'll kill you." The 2-on-1 match officially began. But before the signal to start, Mark leaned over to Jack and whispered, "Don't do anything until I give the signal." Raker. The young man responded with a prolonged, weary, "Yes, yes." In this match, Jack seemed more enthusiastic as he had the chance to meet Liam, the king of mercenaries. Even in his previous life, as a servant of Jaken, Liam had attended the Cradle Academy. However, due to being a distant relative, he had been left behind in terms of education. He begged to participate in advanced studies at the Valhalla Academy but, in the end, joined a knightly order of a small nation called Baranong. After Baranong fell, he ultimately became a mercenary. During the chaotic era, the strong drew people to their side. Over time, Liam rose from being a simple mercenary to an Iron Chain Knight and eventually formed his own mercenary army. He unified the 3 largest mercenary guilds and was quickly hailed as the king of mercenaries. With his mercenary army and the empire, Liam played a key role in the Great War of the Six Lands. In that war, Jack, along with the people of the north, faced Liam as an enemy. The sound of battle cries erupted. Japan charged towards Jack, only to be stunned when Jack caught his punch effortlessly. Jack, with a cold, battle-hardened expression, said, "I told you to come at me together, didn't I?" Japan shoved Jack's hand away and said, "You think I'd fall for your cheap tricks?" Suddenly, he launched a kick aimed at Jack's head. Jack quickly blocked the kick with his elbow and calmly replied, "Take a good look before you act." Japan winced in pain, glancing down at his leg. Seizing the moment, Jack said, "Where are you looking?" With incredible speed, Jack dashed towards Japan and aimed a direct punch at him. Japan hastily blocked it with his hands. But to his surprise, Jack stopped midway and kicked Japan's thigh directly. As Japan stumbled back in shock, Ziken taunted, "Looks like you're a little too scared. You couldn't even notice the fake move. That's why I said to come at me together. On your own. You're not enough." Jack then followed up with another punch, this time aimed at Japan's chest. The impact made Japan cough up blood. Falling to the ground, trembling, Japan screamed, "Liam, kill this bastard for me." From across the field, Liam slowly took his hands out of his pockets. He unwrapped the cloth around his hands one piece at a time and began walking calmly towards Jack, exuding an overwhelming aura of power. Throughout the match, Jack had never been more focused. He felt a sense of dread. The most troublesome thing about fighting him is his range. If I let him make the first move, I won't stand a chance. I have to take the initiative. At an incredible speed, Rich dashed forward, using his skill to slash around Liam with lightspeed movements, creating a blur to obstruct his opponent's vision. The students below marveled at Jack's power, unable to comprehend what it was, as they had never seen anything like it before. Even Mark, observing from the sidelines, was no exception. The Northern Fist technique in the Middle Realm, where swords reign supreme. How does Rich know it? But something even more challenging unfolded. Rich's body as a child was almost useless, complete wreck. With the immense power he now wielded, his young body couldn't handle the strain. After just a few moves, his body began to ache. Yet he ignored it, because Liam's monstrous physique posed the real problem. Liam didn't counterattack, didn't dodge. He simply held his stance, taking every blow. He was more relentless than ever, like the king of mercenaries he once was. Jack's body, however, was reaching its limit. Now, he could truly sense the overwhelming strength of Liam's body. Jack unleashed every ounce of power he had, determined to break through Liam's defense and take him down. Liam, with his sharp, focused eyes, remained in his defensive stance. This time, he deftly evaded Jack's punch and effortlessly grabbed his arm. Jack was utterly shocked. Liam had a terrifying sense of awareness. Liam lifted Jack into the air, ready to slam him to the ground. But midair, Jack used his knee to strike Liam's head, flipping himself to cling onto Liam like a coiled frog. Jack locked his legs around Liam's neck and gripped his arms tightly. With no other choice, Liam used his free hand to deliver powerful punches to Rich's body. He struck like a raging demon, causing Jack to cough up blood. Everyone watching was horrified. Even Pan Mark's face darkened. The match ended as Rich released his grip on Liam. Jake, standing on the sidelines, smirked smugly. The next day, after recovering from multiple muscle injuries, Jack visited Liam's room to check on his condition. Using the excuse of examining Jack's blood flow, Liam inspected whether Jack had awakened his light aura. Jack had just buttoned up his shirt when he extended his hand for Liam to check. Liam, ever polite, thanked him. "Thank you, young master." Dacre placed 2 fingers on Jack's wrist, transmitting some mysterious energy into him. Jack was surprised to realize it was the power of a blue knight. Typically, to check if someone had awakened, people would only examine their dantian. But Dacre was incredibly thorough. Simply channeling chi into another person's body is already a difficult task. But to control it with such precision, that man must undoubtedly be a blue knight. In truth, not all knights are the same. They are categorized based on their martial prowess and their mastery of chi manipulation. White knights are the most basic level. Most children who have yet to undergo the blessing ceremony are white knights. Yellow knights represent the level at which one awakens their chi and opens their chi core. All trainees at the cradle become yellow knights after the blessing ceremony. Once you learn to control chi at will, you are granted the title of knight. Purple knights are those who can enhance their swords with chi. Blue knights are a level where one can manifest a blade of pure chi, a realm of extraordinary individuals. This level was the limit for King Telium's power. Jack, however, had reached the rank of Crimson Iron Knight. Before his reincarnation, there is also the rank of Black Knight, but across all 6 territories, only a few monstrous individuals hold that title. As Jack pondered this, a servant was inspecting him. Jack wondered how someone who once served as a commander had now become his caretaker, but that no longer mattered. The servant couldn't detect R within Jack. In this world, only 2 people could wield it. After completing the examination, the servant spoke calmly. "Master, is there something you're hiding from me?" Jack replied cautiously. "Why? Do you think I'm hiding something from you?" The 2 locked eyes in silence. Suddenly, Jack waved his hand and turned to leave, saying, "I'm just joking." But Jack stopped abruptly at the servant's question. "Why have you changed so suddenly?" "Master, you're asking the wrong question." "Dacre," Jack replied, "you should be asking why it's taken me this long to change." Turning back with a menacing expression, Jack continued, "A lot is going to change from now on. Everything will return to its rightful place. So all you need to do is follow me." Dacre bowed deeply, placing his right hand over his chest, and responded respectfully, "Understood, Master. I've prepared the training room as you requested." "Good. I appreciate your efficiency," Jack said. "Rest now. I'll see you later." "Thank you, Master," Dacre replied, stepping aside. As Jack walked out, he thought to himself, "I need to keep Dacre by my side. If he's under orders to monitor me and extract information." Walking down the corridor, Jack's mind raced with thoughts about who might have ordered Dacre to spy on him. He suspected his own siblings. Jack entered the training room that Dacre had prepared for him, equipped with all the necessary tools and facilities. This family certainly lives up to its reputation, Jack muttered to himself. He checked his system. His sword-slashing skill had reached a proficient level, and he realized it could improve further with more use. Sitting down, Jack began to ponder. If skills activate naturally based on my actions, that means I've had them all along. If I learn something new, could it be added as a skill? What's the difference between general skills and class-specific skills? Do they activate in the same way? As these thoughts swirled in his mind, he recalled significant moments from his past battles. Suddenly, he noticed an entry in his system menu, Dragon's Breath skill. It was locked and required 10 karma points to unlock. His current karma points were at 0. He could earn karma points by defeating monsters, and he immediately thought of the dungeons where such creatures were abundant. However, a minimum requirement to enter the dungeons was the rank of a Death Knight. Moreover, Jack's curiosity deepened. Why had he been reincarnated into the past? What exactly was this system? The skills and professions it revealed seemed undeniably connected to the artifact that brought him to this point. But he had too little information. The next day, driven by a strong will to enhance his power and skills, Jack returned to the training room. With trembling hands, he gripped his sword and said, "Whatever it takes, as long as it makes me stronger, I'll use it, be it this system or the legacy of the Raker family." His young body, still frail, quivered under the weight of the sword. Yet, with unwavering determination, Jack lifted it high, resolved to grow stronger. In this world, there were two known forms of power: Knights' radiant energy and Mages' spirit energy. Knights harnessed radiant energy in their cores, while Mages manipulated spirit energy through magic circles. These two powers existed at opposite extremes. Awakening one meant being unable to awaken the other. However, Jack was uniquely unfortunate. He could awaken neither a core nor a magic circle. This was the reason his family rejected him, leaving him to wander aimlessly. It was during those aimless days that he met his master, who taught him many things. Among all the lessons his master imparted, the most invaluable one was the art of healing his inner chamber through the power of a technique developed by Jack's master. He was able to harness natural energy. As Jack threw himself into intense training, his mind drifted back to the time he had spent practicing with his master. His master and he were the only known users of in the entire world. After an exhausting sword training session, Jack collapsed, leaning on his blade, panting. He muttered, "Only 2 hours, and I feel like I'm about to pass out." Once again, his innate skill activated, healing and rapid energy recovery. All the scratches and cuts from his training vanished instantly. Healing was an incredibly rare ability that Jack hadn't even known existed until he met his master. If he were to use it in front of others, they would think of him as a freak. This was why he couldn't use such abilities during his match with Liam. He needed to heal himself discreetly after returning to his room. Once fully recovered, Jack smiled, picked up his sword, and resumed training until late in the evening. Gasping for air, his face drenched in sweat, Jack glanced up at the sky and said, "Dinner time already? What should I tell Decker?" Looking around, he noticed the deep marks left on the ground from his relentless training. 1 week later, in the dining hall of the Cradle, an array of delicious dishes was laid out. The air buzzed with chatter about Jack. "Have you heard about Jack? He's a completely different person now. That loser of 7 defeats. Could he have turned to black magic or something? Nonsense. I just hope someone stronger puts him in his place." At one large, elegant table, the clinking of fine silverware accompanied the consumption of a luxurious meal. A steak was sliced, lifted, and savored. The one enjoying the meal was Rina Toro, seated with 3 young men at a lavish table. Each had a personal servant standing behind them. One of the boys spoke up, addressing another. "You may not feel like eating, but you should. You'll need energy for your sword duel." As he spoke, he methodically cut into the steak on his plate. This was Organamon. Across from him sat a brash-looking youth with large bandages plastered on his face. Slamming his fist on the table, he growled, "Are you trying to provoke me?" Owen, chewing his steak slowly, responded calmly, "I was just trying to be friendly, but it seems your inferiority complex is worse than I thought." Fuming, the boy leaped to his feet, shouting, "What did you just say?" The force of his movement knocked a piece of steak off Rina's plate, further igniting her irritation. "Enough of this. What are we going to do about Jack Raker?" Rina demanded. The conversation shifted to Jack as the group pondered his recent transformation. Owe remarked, "His fight with Paxson was brutal but impressive. However, when it comes to swordsmanship, he'll fall apart." With a smirk, he added, "What can he do when he can't even hold a sword properly?" He was so weak that he had to commission a custom sword because regular ones were too heavy for him. Everyone was despondent. "We can't lose to someone so lowly. How could he possibly win?" Teken stood up and said, "If you truly believe in luck, then you have no right to be knights of the Raker family." With that, he grabbed his sword and walked out. A sword duel was not like Pancrasson. Real swords were used, making them the cause of most accidents in the cradle. It was also the ultimate way to showcase the skill gap between students. 1 month after the current exam, the blessing ceremony would take place, an event where the Raker family awakened their light aura. At the arena, the referee called out, "Jack, step forward." Jack carried his sword on his shoulder with a smirk. As he walked confidently to the center of the arena, the crowd murmured about the absurdly long sword he was carrying. A voice suddenly called out, surprising Jack. Rena stepped onto the stage with a stern expression. The two stood facing each other. Rena frowned angrily and said, "I've chosen you as my opponent." Jack calmly replied, "Sounds interesting," and accepted the challenge. Smiling, he pointed his sword at Rena. Rena drew her own sword and thought to herself, "He wields a two-handed sword so effortlessly. Now that I'm facing him, I can say this is no longer the Jack I knew, the one who could barely hold a sword. Could it be that he's grown, and his light aura has awakened? What am I thinking? I can't let him intimidate me." Before the battle began, Rena clenched her teeth, wrestling with her thoughts. Then, she swung her sword powerfully toward Jack. Ready for their duel. Rena Run, also known as the Thunder Knight, was one of the knights who made a name for herself during the War of the Six Lands. Below the stage, the members of the Raker family watched intently. The duel began. Rena launched a flurry of sword strikes at Jack, but he blocked them all with ease. Realizing her attacks were ineffective, she began to analyze the situation. Though narrow, I can still sense an opening. However, no matter how quickly I try to exploit it, his sword meets mine as if to praise my efforts. And then, another opening appears. Just like that. It feels like I'm in a training duel designed to teach me. Ken struck again, forcing Rena to retreat. The arena floor bore countless scratches and marks from the duel. Rena had used too much strength in her attacks, greatly depleting her stamina. Jack looked at Jenna with a disappointed sigh. So this is the Thunder Knight who fought back in the cradle? Her swordsmanship was undeniably straightforward, a reflection of someone obsessed with mastering the basics. But that was exactly what was holding her back. Let's see. Why don't I help her break through? Jack thought to himself, lowering his body, his hands pressing against the ground as his eyes gleamed. Rena was startled by Jack's extremely low stance, but she quickly realized his intent. He was planning to close the distance with a single strike. She braced herself in a defensive stance, confident in her speed. However, Jack charged forward faster than she had anticipated, swinging his sword downward with immense force. Rena narrowly avoided the strike by a hair's breadth, but Jack followed up immediately with a horizontal slash, his sword scraping the ground and rising upward. Once again, Rena managed to evade the attack. It seemed as though Jack's strike had missed, until Jenna was suddenly struck in the face by shards of debris. The fragments, scattered from the ground where Jack's sword had landed, scratched her face, leaving visible marks. As Rena momentarily lost focus, Jack dashed toward her and placed his blade against her neck. It appeared Rena was done for, but somehow, she managed to knock Jack's sword away. The declaration came shortly after. Jack had lost. The students watching erupted in cheers, praising Rena. However, only Pan Mark noticed something the others hadn't. When Jack's attack had closed in on Rena, she had used light aura, the faintest, barely detectable amount. Rena, who had sworn never to use light aura until she officially entered the academy, had been forced to do so by Jack. Suddenly, Jack lunged at Jenna with a punch, shouting, "What are you doing? It's not over yet." His fist struck Rena directly in the neck, causing her to spit out blood. Rena trembled, clutching her neck as she fell to her knees. Above, one of her cousins shouted angrily, "This is a sword duel. We won't tolerate such underhanded attacks." The crowd around them erupted in protest, pointing fingers at Jack and shouting fiercely. Jack, unfazed by the uproar, calmly put his hands in his pockets and said, "TCH. Winning is what matters. Do you want to continue?" Rena struggled to her feet, one hand gripping her sword tightly. the other pressing against the wound on her neck. She realized she hadn't lost yet. Jack had only managed to hit her because she let her guard down. The moment of his attack replayed in her mind. If it hadn't been his hand, but instead a dagger, it would have been over for her. Frowning, Rena made her declaration before Jack and the audience. "I've lost." A hush fell over the crowd. Perhaps no one understood what she was saying. Rena sheathed her sword and turned away, walking off before anyone could react. The announcement soon followed. The winner is Jack Draker. The massive castle was engulfed in smoke and flames. Bright orange fire roared, consuming everything in its path. Survivors lay scattered across the ground. The aftermath of an unimaginably brutal battle. Guards draped white cloths over the bodies of the dead, heaving the corpses into a deep pit, already overflowing with lifeless remains. In the midst of this devastation, the flames blazed brightly in the night. Inside a house, two men sat together. "Noble, in this situation, you're still drinking tea," Rick said. "They said that bastard defeated Rena." A hand clad in a black glove set a teacup down on its saucer. Calmly, the man replied, "William, you're always so dramatic." The red-haired man stood up. "How long until the blessing ceremony?" "We have until the next full moon," Noble replied. The man turned to leave, saying, "Seems like it's the right time to visit home." William watched Avon walk away, his expression conflicted. "Why are you planning to go there in person?" Avon's hand rested on the hilt of his sword as he replied, "It piqued my curiosity. I'm intrigued to see what kind of awakening our youngest has experienced." Although Jack's victory shocked the entire cradle, he simply returned to the facility and resumed his training. A month later, during the blessing ceremony, Jack thought to himself, "I really don't understand how, in my past life, with this body, I managed to become a Crimson Iron Knight." Opening the status window, a blue screen appeared before him, displaying the full status window of Zickraker. Jack ran his finger across the screen, lost in thought. As expected, one of his skill proficiency levels had surpassed the mastery rank. The skill leveled up, and its proficiency had been reset. "I even managed to improve the proficiency of my agile footwork, a skill I acquired during combat." He muttered to himself. "Diker, what do you want?" Jack asked. "In 2 hours, we'll be ready to depart. I'll be joining you soon. Make sure everything is prepared," Diker replied. The clear blue sky echoed with the neighs of horses, and the clatter of a carriage rolling along the ground resounded. Jack rested his chin on his hand, lost in thought. "It's been a long time since I last set foot in the main estate," he murmured. The estate belonged to the Draker family and was located in the Duchy of Choi, while the main house was situated in the central region, at the Four Seasons Fortress in the Midlands. The blessing ceremony had to take place at the main estate, the origin of the Dragon Slayer legend. Stepping off the carriage, Jack gazed at the grandeur of the main estate, an imposing and majestic structure known as the Dragon's Lair, the seat of the Draker family. Inside a vast hall, rows of soldiers stood at attention, their voices echoing in unison as they responded to commands. "I never noticed this before," Jack thought. "But all these guests are influential figures, the kind you only hear about in newspapers. The 6 realms. I'm certain the family has sent someone to keep an eye on me, whatever their intentions. Once they see me fail to awaken any potential, they'll surely lose interest." Jack's expression suddenly darkened, turning fierce and menacing. His fist clenched tightly as anger surged through him. "Why is that bastard here? It's been a long time, hasn't it?" "Haha, indeed," came a voice, dripping with mockery. The voice belonged to Avon Raker, the second son of the Raker family, known as the Lion of Swords. "And why are you attending this blessing ceremony?" Avon continued, his tone sharp. "Has someone here caught your eye?" "No," Jack replied coldly. "I have my reasons. It's just a coincidence." Avon smirked. "Ah, my adorable younger brother is here as well." He narrowed his eyes, looking below. "Oh, there he is." Jack frowned deeply, his expression grim. The man being referred to was Amen Raker, known as the Butcher Knight. Jack's anger boiled over, veins bulging on his forehead. But he turned his head away to compose himself. Calm down. There's nothing I can do about it right now, Jack reminded himself, forcing his rage to subside. In his previous life, Avon would never have attended his blessing ceremony. Asterisk asterisk. Has my actions really changed the future? Jack thought as his scarred hand trembled with a tightened grip. Asterisk, if that's the case, then this might be my chance. Asterisk. All right, we will now begin the blessing ceremony, the announcer declared. Aaron stepped forward confidently. A brown-haired boy walked to the front, rolling up his sleeve. Without hesitation, he plunged his arm into the cauldron of water before him. His palm brushed against something small and sharp, causing blood to drip into the water. The cauldron hissed as steam rose, and his body seemed to convulse, as if struck by lightning that spread through every nerve. A faint blue mist began to radiate from him, colliding with an invisible barrier in the air, pushing and twisting to break through. Finally, the mist gathered like a whirlwind in one place. Through the blessing ceremony, all descendants of the Draker bloodline awakened their sealed light aura. This awakening typically occurred when they graduated from the cradle at the age of 12. Next, the announcer called, compared to ordinary knights, who might not awaken until after the age of 20. This was remarkably fast. However, there were rare cases where, alongside light aura, some would awaken a Dragonslayer trait called aura suppression. The spirit lamps. What's happening to them? It can't be. A red light, someone exclaimed. At a minimum, those who awakened this trait could reach the level of a gold-ranked swordsman, sometimes even rivaling crimson-ranked and black-ranked knights. Suddenly, a crimson flame engulfed the sword-wielding statue in the hall, snaking its way to the chandelier above. The entire room plunged into darkness as the flames extinguished every lamp in the room. It's a true blood awakening, someone murmured. Bring me the gloves, ordered the ceremony master. Due to the aura suppression trait, those who experienced such an awakening were required to wear gloves, custom-made by their families. Without them, they couldn't live normal lives. The chandelier flickered back to life, illuminating the room once more. The pale brown-haired boy stared at the gloves now fitted on his hands. When someone proves they are a descendant of the true blood, they are bestowed the Draker family name. Along with this, they receive unparalleled support and countless privileges. The ceremony master explained. Next, the crowd buzzed with anticipation. Finally, it seems like we're getting to the main event. What kind of awakening will he experience? Of course, it's going to be a true blood awakening. He defeated Rinama. After all, one whispered. Jack stepped forward, his face unreadable. Asterisk, I never thought I'd find myself standing before this cursed statue again. Last time, it was absolutely horrific. Asterisk, although the blessing ceremony had been the only thing that drove him to survive the cradle, it had also left him with a disgraceful title. Asterisk, but this time, everything is different. Asterisk, I'm not just able to heal, I can also use R. More importantly, I didn't give up or surrender. I stood up on my own willpower. So, please help me. You damned statue of stats. Jack dipped his hand into the water. Suddenly, the statue began to tremble. He looked up at it with a mix of anxiety and hope. The statue shook violently for a moment before stopping altogether. The people around him started murmuring. It stopped. This has never happened before. Jack's mood plummeted immediately. He pulled his hand back. I knew it. I shouldn't have expected things to change. He thought bitterly. Because of that bastard, I've become overconfident. What's this? He awakened the 7 defeats? But why? It seems even the blood of the family head isn't enough to suppress the cursed bloodline. Shut up, he muttered under his breath. So how did he defeat Daya? He must have used a trick. What a disgrace to the family. Jack calmly took the towel handed to him and wiped his hands. These people never change. It doesn't matter. There are many ways to become stronger besides awakening. As he glanced out of the corner of his eye, the system suddenly appeared. I apologize, Jack Raker. Due to an error in processing, a message was delayed. He stopped, confused. As the system continued, critical information has been identified as missing from the identification mechanism. During the profession identification process, your profession details were entered using system administrative rights. Your identified profession has been registered as a healing sorcerer. Profession unlock confirmed. Your assigned profession is classified as a rare profession. Jack spun around in shock. No way! Behind him, the statue was engulfed in a radiant red light. It's red, a true blood awakening. He's starting with red. His eyes widened as the system continued. The blessing of the ancient dragon sealed within the user's soul has been activated. The light surrounding the statue grew brighter and brighter. Above, Nobel watched with deep contemplation. The talent of the warrior bloodline has awakened. The abilities awakened in you have merged together. With the combination of rare talents, a new profession has been created. What is this bizarre, unique, immortal occupation? Golden light? What is this? Could this be the awakening of true blood? There's a hint of red light, so it must be, right? Of course, they're suspicious. But if I speak up now, it will only harm me. However, the spiritual energy lamp shows nothing. So, is the sword statue malfunctioning? No suppression of spiritual energy. Then this can't be an awakening of true blood. A round of applause rang out. Aben spoke. Why is everyone acting so serious? We've had 2 people awaken true blood in 1 generation. Isn't this something worth celebrating? The crowd fell silent, glancing at one another. Then they murmured in agreement. Yes, 2 true blood awakenings are indeed a blessing. What are you waiting for? Bring gloves for our newest member. Yes, sir. Jack raised his hand, examining the glove. This thing is a bit heavy. Next. Yes, sir. Aben smiled faintly. His intentions were too obvious. But to accept Aben's help, Jack's face twisted in discomfort, like swallowing something disgusting. This concludes the blessing ceremony. We will soon have a celebratory feast. It's for everyone. So please enjoy. A useless feast, Jack muttered. I bet there's a training room somewhere around here. Someone called his name. Jack glanced back and couldn't believe it. It was Aben, smiling as he approached. The party just started. And you're wandering off already? He's approaching me so quickly. His eyes narrowed dangerously. Congratulations on awakening true blood. Aben extended his hand. Jack forced a tight smile. If I refuse, it will reveal my hostility toward him. He slowly extended his hand. For now, I'll just play along. Suddenly, a horrifying scene flashed in his mind. His hand froze mid-air. Aben didn't understand what was happening. Jack let his hand fall to his side. His face darkened with an ominous shadow. He raised his hand in the air, a dangerous smile on his face. This is awkward, isn't it, Jack? Jack glared at him with intense hatred. Even to save face, I can't bring myself to shake hands with this scum. Ben waved his hand dismissively. Well, suit yourself. I'll have to settle for just seeing you. Then, he patted Jack on the shoulder, turned around, and walked away. See you around, Jack. Humph. See you again? 2 true bloods. Ha! That's right. The golden light from Jack was quite surprising. This is the first time it's happened, isn't it? First, I thought he awakened the 7 defeats. Where is he now? Phew, I thought I'd suffocate in there. But, putting that aside, why am I unharmed? All awakened truebloods carry with them a suppression of spiritual energy. It's an ability that proves you're a dragon's adversary, the source of spiritual energy. However, since most machines use spiritual energy as fuel, truebloods are required to wear the family's gloves. If I were truly a trueblood, I should have experienced problems the moment I removed the gloves. The status window appeared right before his eyes, filling him with deep thought. This is entirely different from before. It's not suppressing spiritual energy, it's reversing it. He pulled out a chair and sat down. I need to read this carefully. Skill. Spiritual energy reversal. Creates a distortion field that neutralizes nearby spiritual energy. So spiritual energy reversal is categorized as a skill. not a passive ability. That's why the spiritual energy lamps aren't affected. Before the ceremony, I was a rare healing sorcerer. But now, I'm a unique immortal. Wait, something's off. All graduating students who've awakened typically display green light for their aura. Only Rena has awakened with a red true blood aura. Mine started as red but then shifted to gold. The system mentioned that critical information was missing. Detected, critical information has been identified as missing from the identification mechanism during the profession designation process. The identification mechanism, is it referring to that bronze statue? When the system entered the information, the statue froze and emitted red light. Damn it, so that's how it is. That bronze statue doesn't determine whether you've awakened. It identifies the user's attributes and profession. Red signifies a rare profession, and gold signifies a unique one. That bronze statue is an ancient artifact, used even before the Terracan era, the era of the founder of the dragon family. In this era, the concept of professions did not exist. Thus, professions were only used to determine whether someone had awakened or not. It was possible they had mistakenly identified the red light, a marker of a rare profession, as the indicator of awakened true blood. No family head had ever discovered this mistake. So, I have karma points now? Did I get them back then? Jack wondered. Let's try using them. The system screens began chiming like incoming messages. Leaning back in his chair, Jack pondered. I have Dragon's Sight and Dragon's Authority, but why does consuming and digesting require so much? Why does this one need as much as 50 points? It's better to go for something clearly beneficial than to risk something uncertain. He concluded. **** Dragon Technique *** unlocked. However, Dragon's Authority seemed a bit too risky to use in his current situation. Alright then, activate Dragon Technique, Dragon's Sight. Suddenly, Jack's eyes turned a glowing golden hue. I was expecting more. Jack grumbled. It said detailed information, but nothing seems to have changed. He got up and drew the curtains. Wait. Jack's left eye suddenly flared with a golden flame. A smirk spread across his face as he chuckled. Haha, this is absurd. The night sky outside was deep black, with a bright full moon hanging in the heavens. The statue in the center of the garden now appeared as if it were directly in front of him. This might actually be useful, Jack thought. He shut the window and sat back down. A new system screen appeared before him. Would you like to receive detailed information about the detected target? Detailed information? What's that? Jack murmured as multiple screens began popping up. His movements suddenly froze, his expression tightening as he frowned. His body felt so fatigued he could no longer stand. What's happening to my body? He muttered, collapsing back into his chair. He was so drained he couldn't even lift a finger. Are all dragon techniques like this? If so, I can't use them too often. Just then, a class skill for vitality restoration activated. As soon as it ended, Jack opened his eyes. What? I didn't intend to use that. Wait. Have all my class skills been converted into passive abilities? He checked again. Their levels had all increased. This is ridiculous, he thought. Healing is already a powerful ability, but it's not something you can keep using endlessly. The healing effect definitely has limits. However, self-healing seems to be unlimited. I need to test this further, Jack decided. Rhett picked up the knife next to the fruit platter. He made a small cut on his arm, and a drop of blood fell to the ground. The moment the drop hit the floor, his self-healing skill activated. No way, he muttered. The wound on his arm closed instantly, leaving only the blood as evidence that a cut had ever existed. It takes 5 years to graduate from the academy, doesn't it? 5 years? I'll only need 2 years at Raker Academy, the greatest knight academy in all 6 territories. It's the place where those who dream of becoming knights are willing to pay a hefty price for admission. The academy, located in the bustling province of Contras Troy, came alive with energy every spring semester. The lively chatter and laughter of students filled the air. The senior students, practically indistinguishable from adults, had been trained to near perfection. Yet compared to those who came from the cradle, even they couldn't match up. Still, they were children of powerful families, staking their claims wherever they went. This family is rotten to the core, Jack thought bitterly. Among the countless branch families that supported the transcendent Draker lineage, 3 stood out as the most influential, referred to as the 3 great houses. Troy, the embodiment of strength. Jim, the pinnacle of wisdom. Violet, the representation of wealth. Even the children from these houses were caught up in the same corrupt system. Jack smirked. Well, it doesn't have much to do with me. The Platinum Dormitory, a top-tier residence for the Academy's elite, boasted training halls, libraries, and all manner of high-end facilities. It was reserved for senior students, and even those from the cradle couldn't easily gain access, for pure blood awakened. However, they were granted the rare privilege of owning a floor known as the Platinum Floor. Welcome, Sir Jack Draker. A servant greeted him with a deep bow. We've been expecting you. We will escort you to your assigned floor. Jack raised an eyebrow, smirking in disbelief. This feels a bit over the top, doesn't it? Even for a pure blood. Sir Diker is awaiting you in your room, the servant informed him. When Jack entered, Diker greeted him respectfully. Good evening, Master. Do you need anything? Jack narrowed his eyes slightly. What do you want? Diker, I have something I need to deliver to you, Diker said, holding a package in his hands. He put on his new gloves. They were on a completely different level compared to the temporary ones. I'm glad you like them, sir. Now that I have new gloves, I was thinking about getting a new sword as well. What do you think? An excellent choice, young master, since the Choi territory, which is near the gigantic mountain range, has an abundance of high-quality iron and exceptional blacksmiths. It's said that many graduates' first weapons are masterpieces. Then should I look for a skilled blacksmith? No need. I've already chosen someone. I'll go personally. So arrange a meeting. Galian Handback? I've never heard of that name before. I'll contact them right away. By the way, classes begin tomorrow. Please review the materials beforehand. Always nagging. I know already, Jack replied. Sunlight streamed through the window. Jack sat on a chair, reading through the documents. With the Platinum Floor being completely secluded, he would have more freedom to grow. A knock on the door interrupted him. The servant entered and said, Excuse me, my lord. The floor master, Rena, has sent an invitation for dinner. Rena, huh? Take me there, Jack said as he pocketed his hands and calmly walked out of the dormitory. Interesting. Looks like a southern gang hangout, Jack muttered. Rena Toro, seated on a chair, greeted him. Welcome, Jack Raker. My family is a bit unusual. I apologize in advance. Thanks for the hospitality. Once we finish eating, we can discuss business. Jack replied. The Thunder Knight. She was optimizing her Danteon to control light aura, and even eyeing the position of the Crimson Knight elite. Was she? Then why is her swordsmanship at a standstill? Jack wondered. What a waste of potential. After the meal, Jack looked at the person in front of him and couldn't help but marvel. I've seen people eat a lot, but this surpasses all expectations. Rena wiped her mouth with a napkin. In front of her, a pile of empty plates towered high. We've finished eating, so I'll get straight to the point, Rena said. Accept the support of the Turuan family, Jack Raker. It seems you've forgotten, Jack replied. But both of us are True Blood Awakeners. It appears you misunderstand what it means to be a True Blood Awakener. Yes, we receive many privileges. This Platinum Floor alone is proof enough. But we don't gain any advantages when it comes to developing fundamental combat techniques, knowledge, academics, and practical experience accumulated in the academy, combined with a personal instructor, are what truly elevate our abilities efficiently. Without these things, no matter how wealthy you are, you will fall behind. That's why support from the family is essential. Even Avon Raker, a true blood like us, the youngest to ever hold the titles of both White Knight and Black Knight, Also received support from the gym's branch family, although the head of the Turuan family didn't tell me the exact reason. He did say this: "You won't receive any help from the branch family. I'll say it again, accept the support from the Turuan family. Jack Raker." Jack waved his hand dismissively. Rina didn't understand. Why refuse the Turuan family's support? It wouldn't harm you. That's not the point. He stood up and walked away. I don't need anything more than what I've already received. As a pseudo-awakened true blood, it's not much, but as thanks for the meal, I'll give you a piece of advice. Your sword has too much raw power behind it. I'm guessing it's because you're too conscious of those people. Listen carefully, Rina. Your greatest strength lies in your flexibility, stemming from having a nimble body. Don't take attacks head-on and crush your opponent with brute force. Instead, use your agility, deflect their attacks to the side, and deliver a precise, refined strike. If you can do that, you'll surpass your current self many times over. Thanks for the meal. Rina's hand clenched into a fist. On the dining table, the Turuan family is a symbol of strength. I'm simply following tradition, not because I care about what others think. No, he's right. I've been obsessed with becoming someone worthy of the Turuan name. As a result, this subconscious desire has manifested in my swordsmanship. He just saw right through me. When I was a child, everyone called me a genius, but no one gave me real advice. Jack Raker? Who exactly are you? Jack rotated his shoulders. All of my class skills have changed. Their efficiency is insane. How am I still fine despite staying up all night training? In my previous life, I thought this place was hell. But now, as a fully awakened true blood, this place feels like paradise. Money and power aren't everything, but nothing else feels quite like this. Two male students in green cloaks suddenly appeared behind Jack. They called out, "Jack Raker, so you're also in the special class." "Ha!" Jack turned around to see who it was. It was Owen Gymman, the third young master of the Gymman family, one of the three great noble houses. Known for their scheming nature, the Gymman family excelled at manipulating others to do their dirty work while maintaining a pristine image. "I invited you to dinner last night. Did you not receive the invitation?" Owen asked with an overly friendly demeanor. Jack frowned as he thought, why is he suddenly acting so friendly? Was that letter on my table from him? Why didn't I respond? Oh, right. Why should I even bother replying to him? The sound of heavy footsteps echoed. One of the Gymman family students sneered. "How rude. Even though the young master has been so kind to you." Jack sighed and looked away. Turning on his heel, he began to walk off, waving his hand dismissively. "I understand you want to show off in front of your young master, but remember who you're talking to." Suddenly, a burst of energy came flying towards him. Jack raised his hand and blocked the attack. Spinning around, he leaped backward to avoid a follow-up strike from one of the Gymman students. It seemed that the higher-level students were already capable of basic aura manipulation. "You can call me Durban Rochewell," the attacker smirked. "But here, they call me Durban the Mighty. On behalf of young Master Owen, I'll teach you a lesson." "Durban the Mighty?" Jack thought with amusement. A student who isn't even a knight yet has a title? In an instant, with a swoosh, Jack vanished and reappeared right in front of Durban. "Ridiculous," Jack scoffed. With a powerful punch, he struck Durban squarely in the chest. Blood spurted from Durban's nose and mouth as he was sent flying more than 10 meters away. "Well then," Jack said with a smirk. "Who's next? Durban the Mighty is down. Is it Ireland's turn?" Jack chuckled, clearly enjoying himself. "Pick someone quickly, Owen," he teased. Owen walked forward slowly, pausing as he passed Jack. Leaning in, he whispered, "You really do love basking in glory, don't you, Jack Raker?" Jack found it amusing. The Raker Academy was mainly divided into two classes. There was the regular class, which taught students that lacking talent could be overcome through hard work. These students adhered to a strict regimen from early morning until late at night. And then, there was the special class, a place where students could freely choose their subjects beyond the basics. even in the academy, where the greatest prodigies gathered. The special class was considered the pinnacle. Because of this, I had some expectations. But most of the people here were simply former students from the cradle. Special class? More like a cradle class. I thought. Silence! The instructor shouted. To encourage the new students of the special class, we have a very special guest today. Not only was he the chief commander during the Eastern Empire War 25 years ago, but he is also the hero who stopped the Empire's invasion with nothing but his strategic genius. Please welcome General Hogwartraker. Hogwartraker, who was also the principal of the academy, stepped forward. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, he said with a warm smile. The crowd murmured with admiration. War hero Hogwartraker. They worshipped him as a war hero and a tactical genius. But the truth was far from the legends. Hogwart had leaked critical information to the enemy to ensure his own survival. Ironically, his actions plunged the enemy into chaos. He was nothing more than a lucky traitor. Deco scoffed silently. That rat isn't a hero at all. He's the mastermind who got me expelled from the academy. He took away the only place I had left to call home. Because of him, Deco wandered aimlessly through the Duchy of Choi, only to end up captured by slavers and sold to a southern hotel. Deco clenched his fists, thinking, I'll make you pay for what you did. The instructor's voice broke through his thoughts. I trust that all of you have taken the principal's words to heart. Now, let's begin the basic training immediately. Take your swords and head to the arena. Yes, sir. The students responded in unison. The indoor arena of the special class. Who would have thought that even the elite students here had to learn the basics of dragon slaying? In my previous life, just because I couldn't use radiant energy, took me 2 years to learn what others could in just 3 months. Please, let it be easier this time. Deco muttered under his breath. Welcome, students. A voice rang out. I am Andre Draker, and I will teach you the fundamentals of dragon slaying. Andre Draker? The Rose Knight? The students whispered among themselves. Who is that? He looks so young. That's the official uniform of the Draker family. Andre Draker, the Rose Knight, though not a pure awakened, had graduated early from Valhalla Academy as the valedictorian. He was a once-in-a-century genius, hailed by his father and the Draker lineage itself. Even the instructors in the special class were on another level. One, in particular, was renowned not only for his immense skill, but also for his rigid, unyielding personality. Order. If you're done talking, I'll begin the lesson, Andre announced. Draw your swords. His piercing eyes landed on Jack. You there, student. What's with that sword? Jack's hand hesitated for a moment on the hilt over his shoulder. But after just a few seconds, he swiftly drew his sword, spinning it smoothly in one fluid motion, before raising it. You see, I used this sword, Jack replied. Andre frowned as he stepped into the training arena. Student, do you not know? That one must choose a sword that suits their body. Ah, I figured this would happen, so I tried to make an impression while drawing it, Jack said, exhaling. But it doesn't matter. I can defeat you with this sword. Sir. Andre's face darkened. Better show him my skills, Jack thought. Andre's unyielding spirit defensive technique activated. As his hand rested on the hilt of his sword, I understand, student. If you want to learn with your body, then you've taken the bait. Andre continued. If your sword so much as grazes me, not only will you be excused from punishment, for your insolence. Andre's blade emerged, emanating a deadly aura. His pupils glowed with a dangerous red hue. But you'll also be exempt from this basic Dragon Slayer class. Andre, radiating killing intent, made it clear that his abilities were on par with the elite of the Dragon Slayer class. Don't worry, he added. I have no intention of using chi against a student. Jack's excitement grew. Oh, getting excused from class? That sounds good. I can beat Andre since I know his weaknesses. But with Avon watching me, drawing too much attention like I did at the cradle would be dangerous. I'll just brush his clothes and then surrender. Jack spun his sword behind him. All right, here we go. With a sharp whoosh, Jack lunged forward, his blade skimming past Andre's side. However, Andre successfully blocked the attack. The clash of their swords echoed, a sharp metallic clang, as expected of a blue knight. "This won't be easy," Jack muttered. Andre remained calm and rooted in place, blocking every one of Jack's attacks effortlessly. Jack darted around, appearing and disappearing, searching for an opening to strike. Meanwhile, the students below whispered among themselves. A proper Draker knight, truly on a different level. 30 minutes have passed, and Jack hasn't even managed to graze Andre's uniform. Jack dashed forward, the hand holding his sword trembling slightly. What kind of absurd stamina is this? Even though I'm suppressing my light aura, I can't believe I'm losing to a student. As expected, the existence of True Blood is unfair. Android's poor endurance hadn't changed. The battle had dragged on for some time, yet Rich hadn't even broken a sweat. Suppressing light aura for so long was proving to be a disadvantage. The Draker family's light aura cultivation method was renowned for its uniqueness. You had to activate light aura during daily activities, while training, eating, and even sleeping. Essentially, it had to be as natural as breathing. In other words, for Android, he was essentially holding his breath. Their swords clashed again, the grinding steel draining more of his energy. Android swung his sword forcefully, knocking Rich back. But losing like this doesn't sit right with me, he thought. There's no other way. I'll have to force him to use his light aura. Creating a controlled scenario would be pointless. He needed to push Rich into a situation so extreme that he'd use light aura unconsciously. Android leapt high into the air, lunging at Jack while simultaneously strategizing. I need something that will make him use light aura instinctively. In other words, a desperate situation. Jack spun midair, landing softly as if stepping on cotton. But the moment his feet touched the ground, his body launched forward like lightning. Android was caught off guard for a split second. Jack's agile footwork skill had been activated. His movements were so fast that he left afterimages swirling around Android. This can't be, Android thought. Jack had also activated the critical strike skill. He appeared like a shadow, his sword raised high behind Android. How can a student use agile footwork? Before Android could finish the thought, his instincts made him glance behind, but it was too late. The sword was already inches from his face. Android instinctively activated his light aura to dodge the strike, and that was the moment he fell into Jack's trap. Dragon Slayer Technique, Chapter 1. Segment 1. ****. Jack soared through the air, his body like a hurricane. Android raised his sword high to counter Jack's attack. Boom! The collision sent shockwaves, shattering the ground and hurling Jack backward. The students below the arena watched intently. Jack plunged his sword into the ground to steady himself, unable to hold back a curse. "Damn it!" he spat, his face full of exhilaration. That hurt like hell. His class skill for self-healing activated. He let go of the sword and collapsed. "Now, I can pass out," he muttered. Jack crumpled to the arena floor. Andre sheathed his sword. Victory! But there was no joy in his expression. He turned and walked away, saying, "This student doesn't need to attend class anymore. Anyone else want to be excused?" The crowd of students remained silent, intimidated by Andre's fierce, almost demonic expression. "I'll take that as a no," he growled. "Now, raise your swords. From now on, students can watch the duels in the treatment room." Jack lay on the infirmary bed, thinking, well, that was quite a show. Even though I couldn't touch his sleeve, I made Andre release his light aura, something he swore he wouldn't use. It's recognition of my abilities. After Andre's lesson and some time off for himself, Jack thought, both of us won. Andre's final attack had been the most basic move of the Dragon Slayer technique. But since it came from a blue knight, its power wasn't extraordinary. Even so, Jack mused, I was able to hold my ground against a blue knight, thanks to my stamina and infinite healing. But it's still not enough. To live freely, without restrictions, I need to achieve unstoppable strength. Strength that ensures I'll never lose to anyone. Which means, suddenly, a man holding a bottle of liquor appeared beside his bed, seemingly out of nowhere. So, you're Arthur's youngest, the man said casually. Jack jolted, his eyes widening in shock. Who the hell is this guy? You, the man continued, have eyes just like that brat Arthur, always crying so arrogantly back then. How did I not notice him? Jack thought, alarmed, even with that strong smell of alcohol. And that brat Arthur, he dares to refer to the current head of the Draker family like that. Jack's mind reeled. He blurted out, "Who are you?" The man took a swig from his bottle and said, "Before that, how did you do it, kid?" Jack furrowed his brow. "Do what?" The man leaned in, his tone playful yet sharp. "Earlier, you suffered internal injuries. How did they heal so fast?" Jack's expression changed. He thought to himself, "He's discovered my self-healing ability." His hand clenched tightly onto the bedsheet. "No, I can't let it be exposed. No one in the academy knows about healing." "I don't know what you're talking about," Jack said. The man raised an eyebrow. "Oh, so you're going to keep pretending?" Suddenly, the man lunged at Jack. Jack reacted instantly, ducking to avoid the attack. "Ha! This kid has some tricks." The man sneered. Whoosh! A large blanket flew up, obscuring the man's vision. Jack quickly used the blanket to cover the man entirely. His instincts screamed at him, urging him to act. Skill activated. Agile footwork. Skill activated. Precise stab. Skill activated. Critical strike. Without hesitation, Jack grabbed his sword and thrust it forward. "If I don't kill him now, he'll kill me." The blade came down swiftly, but the man's hand caught it effortlessly, stopping it mid-swing. Jack's eyes widened in shock. "The adaptability you've shown in this situation is impressive," the man said coldly, pulling the blanket off himself. The man snapped Jack's sword in half as if it were nothing. "It's almost as if you're a mercenary," he mused. "Who is this monster?" Jack thought, his mind racing. The man stared at him with sharp eyes and continued, "A mercenary? Do you think I wouldn't know about your past life?" "What? What does he know?" Jack wondered, alarmed. The man idly twirled the broken blade in his hand and said, "A raker who drops his sword and retreats. How disgraceful." He then tossed the broken sword back to Jack and said, "I think you're more suited to being a mercenary than a knight." Jack caught the sword, his mind spinning. What does he mean by that? I haven't felt this way since I met my master. After just a brief skirmish, I'm certain there's a massive gap in ability between us. He's at least an outstanding knight, maybe even stronger. The man pointed at the sword. "A two-handed sword, that's a standard issue from the cradle, isn't it? With your talent, why are you using such a crude weapon?" He muttered to himself. "No, he's even stronger than I thought." Suddenly, the door creaked open. A voice called from outside. "So, this is where you've been." It was Android. "Why are you here?" the man asked. Android replied, "The gardener, Dister." Jack's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "The gardener? Seriously? That guy is the gardener?" Dister was annoyed. "That damn leech. How do you even know I'm here?" Andre replied, "You were in the training room earlier. You're annoyingly perceptive." "Andre," Dister grumbled, glaring at Jack. "If you've recovered, you can leave now." Jack, feeling awkward, stammered, "Why yes, understood." As he was about to open the door, Dister called out to him, "Kid, if you have time, head to the western greenhouse of the academy. I'll teach you something useful." For a moment, Jack hesitated, making the two men unsure of what he was going to say. Jack eventually declined. "No thank you," Dister frowned. "TCH. Look at that mouth of yours. You've got that same stubborn attitude as Arthur." Jack closed the door, smirking. "The garden keeper, Dister? Who are you trying to fool?" For someone to be able to casually call the current head of the family R.R. Draker by name, they must be no ordinary person. Jack recalled what Dister had once said to him. "So, you're Arthur's youngest son." "Ha! That meant Dister must be the only disciple Arthur had ever taken on during his lifetime. Duck Raker, the Director Knight. Duck was one of the Black Knights, known for his unmatched combat skills, capable of taking on an entire kingdom by himself. He was a hot topic of conversation, especially after his sudden disappearance one day. No one expected him to be living in seclusion at the academy. Maybe that's why Andre came here, Jack thought. Duck was known for his frightening determination, with rumors even claiming he was given the title of Black Knight simply because he liked the color black. That has to be just a silly rumor, right? Currently, Duck seemed to show a strong interest in Jack. However, receiving ordinary lessons from someone simply because of their curiosity wasn't something Jack was interested in. If I'm going to learn something, it better be his secret techniques. I'll turn his curiosity into resolve, Jack decided. Meanwhile, in class, the professor of magic theory at Phantom Academy was passionately lecturing. Most of the students, however, were drowsy, barely staying awake. Yet, the professor continued with great enthusiasm, speaking non-stop. In a situation like this, do any of you know what will happen? No one responded. Really? No one knows. When forming a magical formula, if there is resistance, can result in backlash injuries. He explained. Only Jack was attentively listening to the lecture. He raised his hand and asked, "Professor, I didn't quite understand the earlier part about the law of energy flow in spirit chi. Could you explain it again?" The professor was taken aback, feeling unexpectedly excited about teaching. A delighted smile spread across his face, and his eyes sparkled with joy. "Oh, I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever been asked a question. About the flow of spiritual energy. Was it? That's an interesting concept to explain." Just as he was about to delve deeper, the bell rang, signaling the end of class. The students stood up and began leaving, chatting among themselves. "Why are we learning about magical theory in a night academy? It's basically nap time." "Really?" one said with a yawn. Jack was putting his books away, thinking, that was a surprisingly clear lecture. He's definitely not an ordinary professor. As Jack prepared to leave, the professor rushed over, calling out to him, "Wait, Jack." Jack stopped in his tracks. "What is it, Professor?" The professor, slightly out of breath, replied, "It's nothing much, really. It's been so long since I felt like I was teaching a proper class. Thanks to you. So, if you ever have any questions, feel free to visit my research lab anytime. I'm a former scholarship student of Delphi Academy of Magic, so I know quite a bit." Jack was surprised. "I already thought he wasn't a typical mage, but I didn't expect him to be a former student of Delphi Academy, the birthplace of magic." Jack smiled. "Understood, Professor," he thought to himself. Being on good terms with a mage isn't a bad thing. Mages are great at math and usually flexible thinkers. They make better colleagues than knights. Let's see if he'll prove useful. As Jack walked across the campus, he suddenly spotted Daster lying on a bench. Jack thought, looks like he's more impatient than I expected. It's only been about a week, hasn't it? Daster noticed him and said, "Done yet, kid?" Jack replied, "Why are you?" Before Jack could finish, Daster interrupted, "Why haven't you gone to the greenhouse yet? Surely you understand what I mean. Teaching you something useful." "Of course." Jack sighed. "I've already told you. I'm not interested." Daster's face turned red with anger. "What? Why not?" Jack explained. "I know you're incredibly skilled, but right now, I'm focused on my personal training." Daster chuckled and replied, "Of course, personal training can't be neglected. Did you think I'd say that?" Suddenly, Daster raised his hand. Jack tensed, readying himself, but he still got hit. Jack was knocked out. When he woke up and looked around, he thought, I can't believe he defeated me. Looks like waiting a week was too long for him. So, this is the Western greenhouse. Huh. Dister was watering the plants. Noticing Jack had woken up, he put down his watering can. "Awake already, kid?" Jack confronted him. "You kidnapped me?" Dister took a sip of his drink and approached Jack. Yes. I kidnapped you. I find you interesting. Kid. Jack thought to himself. Now he's not even trying to hide it. Looks like he's pretty impatient. Activating his agile footwork, Jack shot to his feet and bolted. Though he was running fast, he still couldn't escape Dister. Jack leapt to dodge him, but no matter how he tried, he couldn't avoid Dister, who pushed him back effortlessly. Jack thought to himself, he's treating me like a joke. I need to do something to ignite his temper. He asked, what's so interesting about me that makes you kidnap me? Dister replied, I've been wondering, how do you heal your wounds so quickly? This question caught Jack off guard. So that's what's been bothering him. Jack thought. Smiling slyly, Jack said, if you're so curious, make me answer. Suddenly, Dister disappeared. Jack barely had time to react. Where did he go? Jack wondered, distracted by his own thoughts. Out of nowhere, a sword hurtled straight at Jack's head. By the time Jack noticed it, the blade was nearly upon him. He tilted his head and caught the sword mid-air. Angrily, he shouted, what are you doing? Dister appeared in the distance, walking toward Jack. You told me to make you answer, but that was too easy. Let's make a bet. Dister continued, if you can so much as scratch my clothes, I'll grant you one wish. Jack thought to himself, like master, like student. But if you give up in this duel, Dister warned, you'll have to tell me everything you're hiding. The duel began. The two clashed fiercely, kicking up a storm of dust and debris. Dister marveled at Jack's tenacity. What is this kid made of? It's been 3 hours. And not only does he have incredible stamina and endurance, but his wounds also heal endlessly. From amidst the rubble, Jack stood up. Self-healing skill activated. Endless stamina skill activated. Jack thought, I could do this all day, but I can't seem to win the bet. Then an idea struck him. Dragon's Fury. It's dangerous, which is why I've never used it before. But against a Black Knight, it shouldn't be a problem. Jack's aura surged as he entered a new state. His eyes turned sharp and cold, reminiscent of his past life. Let's continue. Dister observed Jack with immense satisfaction. That gaze, good. That's how it should be. Dister muttered as Jack assumed a combat stance. The agile footwork skill activated, and Jack launched into a flurry of sword strikes. Dister dodged smoothly, thinking, he's repeating the attacks. He might be fast, but compared to that leech and the little girl from the Turuan family, he's nothing. But this malice, his malice surpasses even persistence. I love it. Maybe I should use a bit of aura. Huh? Dister casually slid his hands into his pockets. Dragon technique, dragon's pressure, he whispered. Dister caught Jack's sword barehanded, then swatted it aside, shattering the blade into fragments. He observed Jack closely. Was that? Did he block my vision just now? But a dense cloud of dust swirled between them, making it hard for either to pinpoint the other. Suddenly, Jack emerged from behind Dister, his eyes glowing intensely. Dragon technique, dragon's gaze. Jack's sword slashed across Dister's torso, but something felt off. The footprints were still on the ground. Yet the person was gone. Jack realized. This is Dister's secret move. A simple dash that creates a violent gust of wind. So this is why he's called the Hurricane Knight. Before Jack could process further, Dister appeared behind him, caught off guard. Jack had no time to react. Turning to face him, Jack locked eyes with Dister, who smirked. Let's call this a draw, kid. Dister's fist struck with immense force, making Jack cough up blood. The punch sent him flying like an explosion, his broken sword clattering to the ground. A warning alarm sounded in Jack's mind. Overuse of skills detected. Your exhaustion level has exceeded safe limits. For your safety, consciousness will be forcibly deactivated. And with that, Jack's world went black. Jack thought to himself, wow, like teacher, like student. Damn it. Jack had fainted, but a few hours later, he regained consciousness. This is my room. Did Duke bring me back? He muttered with a sigh. Ha! I was so close to winning. He really lives up to being the Black Knight. I thought I'd done everything I could, but in the end, it was useless. I tried to catch Duke off guard by repeating my attacks hundreds of times. At the critical moment, I created an opening using dragon pressure and even attacked him with Dragon Eye. And yet, it still wasn't enough. The technique Duke used at the last moment, it had to be his secret move. Of course, I lost consciousness from overusing dragon techniques. But thanks to that, I saw his secret move. That absurd high-speed movement technique he used, it's a result of his body being trained to the extreme. That secret move must be what allowed Android, someone with poor physical strength, to rise to the rank of Iron Chain Knight. It's a shame I lost the chance to learn his secret technique, but it was still worth it. Dragon pressure is powerful enough to make even the Black Knight hesitate. Most weaklings would bow down instantly upon feeling this skill. Suddenly, the system screen appeared in front of him. You have an unread message. A flood of notifications appeared. Skill level up, agile movement, DC. New skill unlocked, high-speed movement. Your soul has developed, thanks to your strong willpower and soul development. Additional system functions have been activated. You can unlock further functions using karmic points. Available options. 1. Minimap, 20 points. View terrain and geographical features in the form of a map. 2. Storage compartment, 20 points. Store items to the maximum capacity within the system's limits. 3. Beginner quest log, 45 points. Includes guides and missions to assist in effective development for low-level administrators. Current karmic points, 40. Jack examined the notifications one by one. So many things have shown up. From the descriptions, the storage compartment seems useful. Let's check it out first. The system screen displayed. If you select the item you desire, it will be stored in the compartment. Asterisk asterisk. When retrieving items stored in the compartment, you only need to think of the item's name or shape. The space occupied by an item in the compartment depends on its size and weight. If you want a larger compartment, you can use karma points to expand its capacity. Jack pondered for a moment before selecting the item he wanted. He picked up the shattered sword in his hand. I can activate skills by thinking about them. So, storing items in the compartment must work the same way. He thought. Store. Asterisk asterisk. The sword in his hand vanished. Jack glanced at the system screen. The dual-handed sword had disappeared and was now occupying 228 slots in the compartment. So, this is what the system meant. Jack thought. The space occupied by an item in the compartment depends on its size and weight. To retrieve an item, Jack simply had to think of its name or appearance. He focused on the sword, and it immediately reappeared in his hand. A smile spread across his face. This is better than I imagined, a personal subspace storage. He recalled his previous life, where such treasures were exceedingly rare and expensive. Even finding something capable of holding them was a challenge. While Jack was lost in thought, a voice called from outside. May I enter? Young Master Kerr. Come in. Jack replied. The butler stepped inside. Jack asked, What is it? The butler said, There's a message for you, sir. He said you'd know who it's from if I mentioned the garden keeper Dr. With that, the butler handed Jack a handwritten letter. Jack smirked. It seems this isn't a complete failure. In the letter, it read, Kid, if you want to challenge me again, come anytime. Jack recalled Duck's words during their last fight. Let's call this a draw, kid. So that's what he meant by a draw. Ha! Jack mused. Still, it means I have another chance. The butler bowed respectfully. There's one more thing, sir. I've located the blacksmith you mentioned earlier. Jack's face lit up. Really? When's the appointment? The butler hesitated before replying. That's the issue, sir. The blacksmith has refused the meeting. Jack's expression soured. What? Why? Why would he refuse? An image of a drunken man flashed in Jack's mind. A man surrounded by scattered swords, sprawled amidst empty bottles. The next morning, Jack decided to visit the blacksmith's home himself. It's been a while, he thought to himself as he approached. The name Breath of Poppy was certainly prestigious for a blacksmith workshop. Jack stepped into the large house and called out loudly, "Is anyone home?" Inside, swords were scattered across the floor and walls. Empty beer bottles were haphazardly strewn about. Among the chaos, a sword radiated a distinct aura, a masterpiece forged by Galleon Handback. He had claimed it was the price for saving his life, a creation worthy of the title Soul Blacksmith. It was said that Galleon could read the soul of a blacksmith before crafting a weapon for them. True to his reputation, he had created a sword with precisely the ability Jack needed, the power to replace chi with R. This sword was forged by the greatest blacksmith in all 6 territories. As Jack took in the sight of the cluttered home, his eyes fell on a man chugging a bottle of alcohol. What's with his current state? Jack thought to himself. Finally, the man seemed to notice Jack's presence. What is it? A kid? This isn't a place for children. Get out of here. The man grumbled. This was the Soul Blacksmith, Galleon Handback. Jack thought. Although he's always been an emotional person, he was never this excessive. What could have happened to him before we met? Without hesitation, Jack grabbed a bucket of water and splashed it directly on Galleon. He tossed the bucket aside and walked up to the blacksmith. Are you sober now? I want to know why you refused my request, Jack demanded. Galleon glared at Jack, but when his eyes fell on the emblem on Jack's glove, his expression shifted. D. Draker, he stammered, quickly bowing his head in a flurry of panic. I deeply apologize for showing such disrespect, Galleon said, trembling. Please forgive my rudeness, but I cannot accept any requests at the moment. A bastard like me, how could I create what someone else desires, when I can't even forge what I truly want? Jack stared at Galleon, still bowing his head, and thought to himself, so even Galleon has gone through a phase like this. Looking back now, he was already the greatest blacksmith in the 6 realms when I met him. Yet Galleon Handback had never told me about his life before that. Perhaps his past was something he didn't want to share, a shameful history he preferred to keep hidden. But I can't wait another 15 years for him to figure it out. Galleon ran his hands through his hair in frustration. Why am I so useless? I can't even forge weapons anymore. A blacksmith who can't create weapons isn't a blacksmith at all. Jack raised his voice, calling out, Galleon Handback. Galleon quickly snapped out of his thoughts, hurriedly apologizing. Please forgive me for my rude behavior, my lord. Jack shook his head. Don't worry. I want to see some of your failed works. Galleon immediately perked up. Let me show you the back. Jack thought to himself. There's no other way. I'll have to guide him back onto the right path myself. When they reached the yard behind Galleon's house, Galleon scratched his head nervously. I'm sorry, my lord. I shouldn't have let things get this messy. Jack shook his head again. It's fine. It's fine. In front of them lay rows of swords, all stuck into the ground. Jack couldn't help but admire the sight. Impressive. It's quite captivating. Galleon, a bit embarrassed, replied, Thank you, my lord. Jack stepped forward to take a closer look. Galleon, alarmed, quickly reminded him, Please be careful, my lord. Even though they're failed works, they're still very sharp. Jack examined the swords closely. This one, and this one. Not just these, they're not failures. Their quality is on par with the weapons you forged. When you were hailed as the greatest blacksmith in the 6 realms, activating his dragon eye, Jack confirmed his thoughts. He turned to Galleon and asked, Your furnace is having issues, isn't it? Galleon was stunned. How did you know? Jack continued, I'm asking you. You've optimized your smithing style for yourself, haven't you? It looks like you've mixed certain metals to create lighter and more refined materials. Jack picked up a sword and swung it at the ground. The blade shattered instantly. Jack explained, But the durability is terrible in cases like this. It's because the impurities weren't properly removed during the heat treatment process. Galleon was shocked. That's completely accurate. He didn't just immediately recognize my smithing method. He even pinpointed the critical flaw and its cause. If it's this person, Gon clenched his fists and spoke loudly. Sir, this may be a bit sudden, But I have a request. Jack replied. What is it? Come inside. Gon immediately presented a blueprint. Could you take a look at this first? Jack examined the drawing with curiosity. This was a design of great finesse. It was Galion's secret, something he would only reveal years later. The blueprint for a magical furnace. Jack recalled Galion's words from his memories. There's no reason to hide this. From the person who saved my life. A single furnace, where the temperature can be controlled by magic. That's my secret. Back in the present, Jack said. With this, your alchemy process will work perfectly. Galion nodded confidently. I knew you would recognize its value immediately. Jack asked. You have the full design. So why haven't you built it yet? Galion replied. The most crucial part, the energy law component, is still intact in the design. But the cost to build the magic furnace tower is 10,000 gold. Jack was taken aback. He thought to himself, asterisk for a normal family of 4. Monthly living expenses are 10 gold. That's 1,000 times more. Asterisk. So it took him 15 years. Just to scrape together that much money? Jack said aloud. That price is absurd. Galion responded. Which is why I want to ask you for a favor. You are a raker, and an awakened pseudo-true blood. If you create this furnace for me, I'll fulfill any request you have, for free and without conditions, even if it costs me my last breath. Jack thought deeply. Asterisk, this is a tough one. If I were a protector knight of the family, it might be possible, but as I am now, even as a true blood, getting support for 10,000 gold is impossible. Asterisk. Asterisk still. I can't give up on GAMS. Radiant Sword Project. Asterisk. Asterisk, the problem lies in the energy law component. Wait, the energy law component. Asterisk. A realization struck Jack. He grabbed the blueprint. Gon was stunned. Truly, sir? You'll accept. Jack turned to leave and replied. I might know a wizard who can help. Once I have an answer, I'll let you know. And stop drinking. Gon burst into tears, snot running down his face. Thank you, sir. Truly. Thank you. Gon Lion will serve you for the rest of his life. Like you're my savior. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Jack responded helplessly. All right, I get it. Stop it already. I'll let you know when I'm done. At Raker Academy, in the professor's research building, Jack walked along, deep in thought. Why do those bastards from the magic tower charge such high fees? The structure looks so simple. Phantom's specialty was in the design laws of spiritual energy constructs. His research laboratory stood nearby. As Jack walked, his attention was suddenly drawn to an alleyway. He remembered, in that alley, a group of students had been bullying him. Jack, Jack. They mocked. As he sobbed and clung to the leg of a boy they called the Snake. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please, Jack cried. The Snake narrowed his eyes and sneered. What did you say? Jack knelt down, tears streaming down his face. I beg for your forgiveness, Lord Snake. This lowly being dares to touch your noble form. Please punish me. The Snake shoved Kiji's head down. Good. Well said, Kiji. To reward you, I'll give you the opportunity to clean the dirt you've soiled the ground with. You cowardly worm. Thank you, Lord Konat. Kiji replied submissively, full of gratitude on the surface but seething with resentment deep inside. Those memories still lingered in Kiji's mind, a mix of bitterness and anger when he thought about those years. Even now, in that same alley, curses and jeers echoed. Worms like you are nothing but obstacles in other people's lives, a boy said angrily, hitting another student repeatedly, blood splattering everywhere. The crowd didn't just watch, they cheered him on enthusiastically. He seethed. That damn Jack too, the unprecedented golden light reaction, a true blood awakening above all else. His anger grew as he kicked the head of the boy kneeling before him. 7 defeats before that lowly bastard Jack. Couldn't be helped, thanks to that sneak attack of his before the fight even began. But how in the hell did that worthless trash, who won by sheer luck, become a true blood awakener? From a distance, Jack approached with a smirk, mocking him. Wow, pockmarked face. Already found someone to replace me. Ha! Jack's face turned cold, his killing intent radiating. I'm giving you all 3 seconds. Heads to the ground now. Or else. But the group showed no sign of fear. One of them pointed at Jack and said, What are you going to do about it? The arrogance of yours has hit the roof ever since you awakened true blood. Jack Raker, are you even sure you've truly awakened? Jack pointed angrily at him. Shut up, if you won't bow. Don't blame me. A wave of pressure radiated from Jack, making the man pale with fear. Just a few months ago, he was crawling under my legs. And now I'm scared of his anger. How dare you give orders to me? You filthy lowlife dog. The man roared. Stop standing there. Attack him. The group charged at Jack like moths to a flame. Jack's face remained emotionless. Don't blame me for this. You brought it upon yourselves, he said coldly. He sidestepped a punch and swiftly countered, landing a blow on the bald man's stomach, making him spit blood. He ducked, delivering a sharp punch to another man behind him, before grabbing a third midair and throwing him back into the oncoming crowd. With a killer's gaze, Jack launched himself forward, taking out 3 people with a single kick. A man with pockmarked skin stared at the scene in disbelief. No way. Is this really the Jack Raker I know? In less than a minute, Jack had rendered the group helpless, leaving them sprawled on the ground, cracking his neck and flexing his hands. Jack approached the man. No need to be scared. I'm sure you know, it'll only hurt for a moment, he said with icy resolve. The man, trembling, drew his sword in desperation. Don't come any closer, or I'll cut you. Jack's expression turned serious. You really drew your sword outside the training grounds? Do you know what that means? Jack closed the distance between them. To draw a weapon outside the sacred training grounds. Leon Conrad. The man shouted in fear. Wait, please. Jack ignored his plea and continued. Jack Raker. Invoke a response in the name of honor. The next moments will decide which of us dies. The full responsibility lies with me and my opponent. No one else is accountable for the outcome. Jack glanced at the battered face of the man lying on the ground. Liam Stone, you're the witness. Now, let's proceed, he declared. The man quivered and fell to his knees, sobbing. I'm sorry, Sir Jack Raker. Please spare me. Please have mercy. Jack gripped his sword tightly, memories of the past flooding back. He remembered kneeling in the same way, begging. I'm sorry, Sir Leon Conrad. Please, spare my life. Rage burned within Jack, unrelenting and ferocious. You pathetic lowlife, Jack growled, swinging his sword and slicing off the man's ear. I'll take your ear as payment. A blood-curdling scream pierced the air. Jack stepped closer, placing a hand on the man's head. In a chilling voice, he said, If your ear is reattached the next time we meet, what I'll take won't be your ear. It'll be your head. Jack slammed the man's head into the ground. Turning to walk away, he heard a voice behind him. Jack, why did you help me? Jack replied without turning back. Don't think about it. I wasn't helping you. I was helping myself. His words were quiet, audible only to the man. They felt like a release, even for Jack. He thought to himself, Is this galleon's influence on me? I almost said something embarrassing. At the Phantom Research Lab, Jack posed a question to Phantom. Is it possible, Professor? Phantom responded. Let me be frank with you. You could say it's possible. Really? Then I'd like to entrust it to you, Jack said. Wait, Phantom interjected. I think it's better if you hear my explanation first. As you said, the overall structure is simple. However, the problem lies in the core, the component responsible for energy output. The core is considered the heart of the machine, but the circuitry that channels energy from it has severe limitations. It's incredibly intricate and problematic. Even though the issue may seem small, it requires a sufficient power source, and will also need a way to regulate the output without delay. This is something unprecedented, complicated, yes, but feasible, Phantom explained. There are 2 options based on the condition of the core. I could personally redesign the core structure. However, Phantom paused before continuing. It would take at least 10 decades to revise the design for the core. If not, could take up to 15 years. 15 years? Jack exclaimed, stunned. Yes, it would require a considerable amount of time. Phantom replied. As for the second option, we could bypass the core entirely and use a similar material. However, while this could save us a great deal of time, the material we'd need is high-grade compressed spirit stone. Jack's eyes widened. What? Isn't that an ancient treasure that can't be created with modern technology? Exactly, Phantom confirmed. Ancient treasures are already rare, but finding such an artifact among ruins is even more difficult. To find a spirit stone capable of withstanding our design, it will cost more than 3.000 gold. Jack sighed in frustration, thinking, I might get kicked out if someone finds out I can't use light aura. 15 years is far too long to wait. However, 3.000 gold is ridiculously expensive. I can't give up on the radiant sword. Most people believe I'm a light aura user because of what happened during the blessing ceremony. But that was just a reaction caused by healing and error correction. The reality is that my inability to use light aura hasn't changed. Aura is considered a power, almost impossible for humans to control. However, aside from the spirit sense technique, taught to me by my master, I can't use any sword techniques that rely on light aura. Even with that technique, all I can do is enhance and wield my body as a whole. Compared to others, light aura is far more versatile and easier to use. That's why I need the radiant sword. Jack ran his hands through his hair in frustration. Damn it! How am I supposed to find a high-compressed spirit stone? Praised by Phantom? By the way, the person who created these designs, they're extraordinary. Even considering the complex core structure, this design is truly superior. It would be difficult to create, even among treasures from the Golden Era. Jack froze. Treasures of the Golden Era? He thought to himself. Why didn't I think of this sooner? Standing up with a confident smile, he said, Please keep these designs safe until I return. Professor Phantom, surprised, asked, What do you mean? Are you asking me to spend 15 years perfecting this? Jack laughed. Ha ha ha, of course not. I'll bring back what we need, a high-compressed spirit stone. As Jack left, an image of a black dragon soaring through the sky came to his mind. During the Golden Era, the Liberation War, fought to free humanity from dragon rule, ended with the defeat of the evil dragon Bahamut at the hands of Telekan Raker, bringing humanity a century of peace. During that time, many ancient treasures were discovered in dragon lairs. Artifacts from the heroic king era, the pinnacle of magical advancement. All the treasures unearthed from that time contained techniques and magic, far surpassing modern standards. Among the items was a high-grade compressed spiritual energy stone, sufficient to sustain an entire village, a relic from the era of the Hero King. Back to the present. At the Central Library of Draker Academy, though rarely used, the library was still maintained. It was believed to have been personally established by Telekan during the archive expansion period. During that time, relics from the Golden Era were discovered. This led to connections with the Magic Tower and Grand Mage Nirvana, a member of the 5 great families. Over those months, countless Golden Era relics were unearthed, and news of them spread rapidly through the newspapers across 6 regions. Or at least, that's what would happen in 15 years. In the Central Library archives, Jack was leisurely wandering around. He thought to himself, no one has discovered the relics yet, or even become aware of their existence. I could search all day and still find nothing. He mused in frustration. Activating Dragon Technique, Dragon's Gaze. His glowing eyes scanned the area. He noticed an anomaly. A square on the floor turned red. There it is. Jack tapped on the square. It produced a hollow sound. This must be it, he muttered, using his innate spirit sense ability, a technique exclusive to the spirit sense art, taught by his master. Jack visualized and materialized his will to cut. The skill, which allowed the user to apply specific properties, like cutting in various situations, came with a major limitation. It consumed an enormous amount of our spiritual energy to perform any action. Jack staggered, feeling drained. It seems I've overexerted myself. The square opened. Jack slipped into the hidden space below and sealed the hatch, returning silence to the library. In the underground chamber, darkness enveloped everything. Jack lit a torch. None of the reports mentioned it being this deep. He murmured as he descended. A sound echoed from behind him. Jack quickly hid behind a wall. No one should discover these ruins for at least another 10 cycles. Could someone have found them already? Peeking out, he spotted skeletal figures carrying picks and shovels. All right. At least they're not created by the League. He thought, a mixture of relief and unease washing over him. If that's the case, then this is simple, Jack thought. He picked up his sword. Skill activated, critical strike. With a swift motion, he lunged forward and swung his blade, decapitating the skeleton. Its head rolled to the ground, and its other parts shattered into fragments. Suddenly, the system screen appeared. Jack was surprised. You've defeated 2 skeletons. You've earned 2 karmic points. Skeletons defeated, 2. Current karmic points, 22. Jack smiled. Oh, right. I can earn points by killing monsters. I completely forgot because I was too focused on the treasure. A mischievous grin spread across his face. Wait a minute. Isn't this a great opportunity to farm points? He strode off eagerly. I'm coming for you. My precious points. One by one, Jack defeated the skeletons that appeared in the basement. The system screen displayed, you've defeated 1 skeleton. You've earned 1 karmic point. Skeletons defeated, 20. Jack chuckled. Too easy. The system summarized the updated information. Current karmic points, 42. Status window. Administrator rank, low level. Name Jack Raker. Profession unique immortal. Title the one blessed by 9 dragons. System features storage compartment 25 slots. Minimap locked. Requires 20 points to unlock. Beginner quest log locked. Requires 45 points to unlock. Class skills Healing path skills Calm mind basic. Vitality restoration basic. Enhanced perception basic. Combat skills Precise stab rank E, proficient. Rapid / rank D, novice. Critical strike rank D, skilled. Agile footwork rank D, skilled. Spiritual energy reversal rank, novice. Dragon skills Dragon's signature level 1. Dragon Eye novice. Dragon pressure novice. Devour locked. Requires 50 points to unlock. Dragon's signature level 2 locked. Requires 50 points to unlock. Current karmic points 40. Looking at the details, Jack muttered to himself. I need to consider this carefully in case I find something worth unlocking. He pondered his options. Beginner quest log costs 45 points, and the minimap costs 20 points. What should I choose? The Dragon's Devour technique and the level 2 lock skill both required 50 points. At the moment, it seems I can only afford the minimap function. Jack thought. Minimap function activated. A map appeared on the screen, with a red dot marking Jack's current location. It's similar to a magical map, Jack muttered. A button appeared on the map. He pressed it, and the minimap transitioned from 2D to 3D. Jack exclaimed in delight. This is amazing. This is exactly what I wanted. However, one room on the map was a different color. He touched the marked area, and the system displayed. Do you want to navigate to the selected location? A Dragon Slayer's storage room? Jack gasped. The storage room? The search team took days to locate this place. And now I can find it so easily. He pressed, confirm. Now displaying the fastest route to your selected location. The system screen began showing the path. Jack stood in stunned amazement before shouting, "Haha, this is unbelievable. With this, there's no way I'll ever get lost again. You have arrived at your destination." Jack found himself standing in front of a massive door. "This must be the place," he said to himself. "But how do I get inside? Just touching it isn't enough to open it." As he reached out and touched the door, a surge of energy shocked him, burning his hand. Jack froze, startled. A protective spell. Could it be related to the Magic Tower and Grand Mage Nirvana? That must explain this door. Looking at his hand, he sighed. "If it weren't for my gloves, I would have lost my hand entirely. There's no way I can bypass this spell on my own." Jack turned to the system. "Hey, can't you unlock this door for me? Request received from administrator. Connecting to security device. Security spell has been disabled. Automatic device activation unsuccessful. Switching to manual activation." "What?" Jack blinked in confusion. "Wait, are you actually responding to what I said?" "Yes, I am. Do you have any additional requests?" Administrator Jack Raker. Jack was taken aback. "I can talk to the system?" He frowned and asked seriously, "If that's the case, why did you force me to reincarnate?" The system replied, "I cannot answer the question provided." Jack pressed further. What is this administrator system anyway? Even the system couldn't answer the question. Jack frowned and asked, "AI, who created you?" Once again, the system failed to provide a response. Instead, it displayed a message. "Do you have any additional requests?" Administrator Rich Draker. Jack sighed in frustration. "Damn it, I'm not getting any answers to the important questions." He gave a command. "Just open the door already." The system confirmed. Request from administrator acknowledged. The tomb of the Dragon Slayer's storage room has been unlocked. As the gates opened, Jack was greeted by the sight of countless dusty chests scattered all around. He stood there, stunned. "Wow, is all of this treasure chests?" Treasure chests, as the name implied, were containers filled with priceless artifacts and valuables. Even finding just one artifact in a single chest was considered a miracle. "Ha! And there are hundreds of these things," Jack exclaimed. He began rummaging through the chests. "I'll take this one. Oh, this one looks promising too." Finally, Jack smiled. He had found what he was looking for. Holding the item in his hands, he said, "I'll give this to Phantom." Among his discoveries, he had found high-grade compressed spirit stones. Not just one, but 4 of them. Even better, he thought. "I'll use 1 point to expand my storage capacity by 4 slots. There's no way I have enough space to carry everything. Looks like I'll have to come back regularly until I graduate." Jack stopped his search. "That's enough for today," he muttered. Suddenly, he felt something off. What is this eerie feeling? Jack placed his hand against the wall, and a magical circle appeared, locking him in place. What the? At that moment, a hidden mechanism activated. A beam of light descended from above, and the system transported Jack to a new location. As Jack looked around in confusion, he realized, this is the sanctuary of the Dragon Slayers. Bewildered, he asked himself, why is this the sanctuary of the Dragon Slayers? There was nothing in the records about a room full of chests. Opening his mini-map, he noticed he wasn't far from his original location. Just as he had suspected, Jack studied the map intently, his expression serious as he tried to make sense of the situation. But there is no path leading to the Dragon Slayer's sanctuary. If so, this must be a place that has not been discovered in my previous life. Cannot ignore it. At this time, Jack begins his new journey. Jack moves to push a chest lid near him. Surprisingly, inside is a giant armor. This is the exclusive equipment of the Dragon Slayer. Discovered by Jack. Jack pulls out the spear to take a look. Jack looks at all the details of the armor, then begins to analyze the exclusive equipment of the Dragon Slayer. It definitely doesn't look like the armor of the Golden Age that I know of. Suddenly Rick sees a hole behind the back of the armor's neck, wondering what it is, not knowing what to plug in. Suddenly Rick thinks of RA. He pulls out the emerald green battery RA. satisfiedly preparing to insert the battery into that hole. The battery LIN has been installed in the unique equipment power. Dragon Killer. Battery emits green electric currents. The armor's startup sound begins to ring. The armor's eyes light up. Jack laughs triumphantly because he has found and done something super cool, but the armor seems to have come back to life. But it lies down again to Jack's surprise. Jack also doesn't understand why it is like that. But he doesn't want to care anymore. Continue to go to the last room. This is a very large room, but the whole room only has one glass cage. Jack indifferently observes. Suddenly, the control panel appears. At this time, Jack's eyes appear a few rays of fear. Sweat begins to flow. His face stiffens and his mouth says softly, "Telecan Ranger, he is really crazy." At this time, the image of a fierce dragon appears, emitting smoke and fire. Eyes light up, teeth gnash. Rick has discovered the legacy of Telecan Franker. It is the cursed heart of the evil Bahamut Long. Image a red burning heart, with muscles wrapped around it. Looks powerful. This is the dragon heart that was defeated by Telecan Franker. It is the legacy he left behind. Jack thinks back then. That creepy feeling he felt in the storage. Before this is it. Jack's body once again feels the pressure. Uncomfortable eyes start to turn black. Defensive skill. Indomitable spirit is being activated, but it has failed to activate skill 7 defeat. Jack falls to one knee. One hand on the ground. Black smoke covers the space that covers Jack. Jack covers his face with one hand. Only his eyes that are all black can be seen. The space also has voices talking a lot. Suddenly Jack bangs his head on the glass in front of him. "You keep rambling on and on. How annoying. And you call this freedom?" Suddenly, another Jack appeared in front of him. The two stood face to face. Two versions of the same person. Jack stared at the figure in the mirror, a mocking smile spreading across his face. "Freedom is something you have to seize for yourself. Idiot." Blood dripped down Jack's face as he panted heavily. At this moment, Jack had finally overcome the curse of the heart from Bahamut, the evil dragon. A crimson aura surrounded Jack as the blazing heart drew closer to him. Emergency mission complete. Mission reward. Ownership of Telecan's legacy acquired. Jack gasped for air, muttering, "Damn it, just a little more, and I'd have been finished. I can't believe my skill activated in the middle of that fight. What was that near-death moment even about?" he thought, replaying the events in his mind. During the ordeal, Jack's self-healing class skill had activated, followed by his endless stamina class skill. The cursed heart of Bahamut began to be absorbed, but Jack barely had time to recover when the heart lunged toward him unexpectedly, sending waves of searing pain through his body. A red mist engulfed Jack, his body trembling. He had no idea what was happening. A concentrated pure spirit core flew directly into Jack. "What? I don't even have a spirit chi ring to process this energy," Jack thought in a panic. The vast amount of energy, without anywhere to go, was destroying his body from within. Jack was lifted into the air. His limbs stretched painfully as the crimson energy surrounded both him and the cursed heart. "I have to do something," Jack thought desperately. He raised his trembling hands, channeling a purple-blue aura, and activated his ultimate technique, Soul Form Technique. A black orb materialized between Jack's hands. He wrapped the spirit chi in the at field and sealed the cursed heart within it. Jack strained every muscle in his body to withstand the overwhelming power of the cursed heart. Boom! An explosion erupted, filling the air with thick smoke. Jack's technique had finally ended. He stumbled back a few steps, gasping for breath. "Guess I'm still alive," he muttered, his voice shaky. The front of Jack's shirt had been torn away, leaving a large patch exposed on his chest. Looking around, he saw no trace of the cursed heart. Seems like all that spirit chi belonged to Bahamut, Jack thought, his expression conflicted. Suddenly, Jack noticed a tear in his shirt reflected in the glass display case nearby. A few scraps of fabric still clung to it. Looking closely, he saw a red dragon head tattoo on the torn spot. He thought to himself, "Is this from when I sealed Bahamut's spiritual energy?" Suddenly, the system panel appeared again. "You have absorbed the cursed heart of Bahamut, the evil dragon." Jack froze in place as more notifications appeared. The absorbed spiritual energy has adjusted the administrator's body. The administrator's physique has transformed into a celestial bone body. Detected. The administrator's strength exceeds manageable levels, compressing and sealing 95% of the power. As the heir, you have been granted access to the Telecan Ranger's secure vault. Beginner quest log activated. Providing guidance for low-level administrators. Jack read through the notifications, his face full of confusion. He muttered, "Great, another pile of bizarre nonsense. As usual, I'll look into this later. But for now," before he could finish speaking, he stopped himself abruptly. His expression turned serious, and he focused on a single notification that remained. The message caught him off guard, and he exclaimed, "My ancestors were really generous." "Ha!" Smirking, Jack stroked his chin thoughtfully while looking at the notification. The message read, "Do you wish to unlock another legacy of the Telecan Ranger?" After a moment of contemplation, Jack decided to unlock the second legacy. Suddenly, a treasure chest appeared before him, and his eyes widened in surprise. In an instant, the scene shifted to a grand platinum hall. By now, Jack had changed into a fresh set of clothes. He was closing a treasure-filled cabinet with a satisfied expression. "Looks like the cleanup is almost complete," Jack said to himself. "Let's take a closer look." The system screen appeared. Status window. Administrator level * low level. Name * Jack Raker. Profession * immortal. Unique. Title * the one blessed by ancient dragons. Inheritance * heir of the Telecan Ranger. Sovereign of the dragon race. Physique * celestial bone body. System features *. Storage compartment * 65 slots. Minimap. Beginner quest log. Class skills *. Self-healing path skills *. Indomitable mental defense. Endless stamina. Heightened perception. Combat skills *. Precise stab * rank E. Proficient. Rapid / rank D. Novice. Critical strike * rank D. Skilled. Agile footwork * rank C. Novice. Spiritual energy reversal * rank Novice. Total suppression * rank A. Novice. Dragon arts log. * level 1 * dragon's gaze. Recruit level. Dragon's pressure. Recruit level. Word command technique locked. Unlockable upon meeting conditions. Devour skill locked. Requires 50 points to unlock. * level 2 * dragon arts log. Unviewable. Requires 50 points to unlock. Current causality points * 10. Dragon techniques. * word command technique * infuses Jack's words with power. Locked and will unlock upon meeting specific conditions. Jack glanced at the interface and marveled. * so many extensions to explore. Let's see what's next. * He tapped the screen again, revealing more extensions. Sovereignty of the Dragonkin * grants dominion over Dragonkin, allowing summoning and commanding of those already subdued. Celestial bone physique * optimizes physical abilities, enhances martial arts speed, and amplifies arconductivity. After reading the descriptions, Jack admitted he still didn't understand much. As he continued walking, Jack skimmed through the information. He recalled something he'd noticed earlier, * not just Telecan's second legacy, but also a system window tied to him. * Speaking aloud, Jack said to the system, "System, show me the notifications related to Telecan." Finding a good spot to sit down, he watched as the system displayed a notification. To access Telecan's secured archives, data synchronization is required. Jack was puzzled. * There's a secured archive from Telecan? * He tapped the screen again, and it responded, "Please proceed to a synchronization point. Would you like synchronization points to be displayed on the minimap?" Jack sighed. * This is annoying, so I have to physically go to a specific location to access it. Fine, show me the location. Looking at the map, Jack realized the point was at Van Hilra, a place that surprised him. Van Hilra was the top night training institute, boasting extraordinary security. No one, except authorized individuals, can even get close to it, let alone enter. Even for me, sneaking into Van Hilra is nearly impossible. It's not part of my current plans either. But if Telecan's legacy is truly there, then it's worth revising my plans. Jack muttered as he swiped the system screen. Looks like I'll have to stay in this cursed family a bit longer. A sudden task appeared. The beginner-level task book had been activated. Beginner guide for low-level administrators initiated. After completing the guide, tasks will become available to support the administrator's development. Completing tasks will earn rewards. Reading this notification, Jack thought, so, I take on tasks and get rewards upon completion? It's structured like Adventurer Guild missions or mercenary tasks. But what is this guide about? The system announced. Beginner guide for low-level administrators initiated. Suddenly, a green light appeared beneath the floor where Jack was sitting, catching him off guard. The light transported him to a different space, as though he were inside the system itself. Jack wondered to himself, what is this place? Did I teleport like before? No. This feels entirely different, like the entire space has shifted. Jack's body began to glow white as though it was being scanned by the system. Moments later, 2 monsters of the orc race were suddenly summoned. They charged straight at him. At the same time, a system interface appeared before his eyes. Guide mission *. Defeat the monsters within the time limit using at least 2 skills. Reward * access points to the systems store. Time limit * 60 minutes. Seeing the systems panel, Jack muttered, orcs suddenly appear, and a corresponding mission is set. So, this guide creates scenarios where I can actively use the system. This should have been provided earlier. His thoughts were interrupted as the orcs lunged at him. A massive impact was generated by the 3 orcs. High-speed movement activated. Continuous / activated. Using these 2 skills, Jack's figure darted past them, leaving behind purple slashes on their bodies. Moments later, their corpses were no longer intact. The dual blades in Jack's hands felt as light as feathers. The system announced again. Heavenly Bone Physique. Physical capabilities optimized. Speed, martial arts proficiency, and energy transmission intensity enhanced. Standing amidst the battlefield, Jack reflected, so this is the effect of the Heavenly Bone Physique. At this level, I can easily defeat enemies of commander rank. The system announced. Mission completed. Shortly after, Jack was returned to the room. Standing in the middle of the training room, his thoughts began to swirl again. Oh, I've returned. So, was it all just an illusion? The realism was no joke. The rewards for completing the mission appeared. A critical strike bonus had been added to the rewards. An additional time bonus was included. The mission reward was 40 points and a classification upgrade. The shop was unlocked. Sweating, he glanced at the system panel. I can purchase items through the system? This is too convenient. Giant's Hide. Fiery Giant's Breath. All rare treasures worth hundreds of gold coins. Even just reselling the items from the shop would be enough to earn me a fortune. He opened his inventory. Only a single sword was inside. The system spoke. Please place the item you wish to sell into the designated window. Items stored in your inventory can also be sold. Training dual blades. This item cannot be sold. Elvi's dagger. Do you want to sell this item? This value is 4 Ziglap points. But selling this seems to only apply to ancient relics. 4 points for this dagger? I could easily earn at least 100 gold coins at an auction. Selling it won't be worth it unless I really need the points. He waved his hand, closing the system. Stretching, he walked toward the door. What a tiring day. I'm going to sleep well tonight. The scene shifted to another place. Dragon Academy. in the professor's research building. Asterisk, you really managed to bring back a highly compressed spirit stone in just one day? How on earth did you manage that? Asterisk, Professor Phantom asked, a hint of disbelief in his voice. Jack replied nonchalantly while sipping tea. Asterisk, when will the operational device be complete? Asterisk, Phantom immediately answered. Asterisk, it's already finished. Asterisk, hearing this, Jack beamed. Asterisk now, that's extraordinary. But honestly, the fact that you even brought this here, Jack, is even more remarkable. Asterisk, hearing this, Jack's expression shifted to one of suspicion. Asterisk, anytime a highly compressed spirit stone is discovered, the major factions across the Six Lands register the ancient characters, categorizing them into serial numbers for tracking and management. Asterisk, ownership rights for high-value spirit stones are always recorded. By checking the serial number, you can determine the time of excavation, the location, and the current owner. Asterisk, but the things I brought here? There's no way they're registered in that book. That's the encyclopedia of serial numbers for highly compressed spirit stones of the central continent. Asterisk, this is an entirely new discovery of my own, Jack thought. Asterisk, setting aside the suspicious details. This guy does have solid judgment and skills. Asterisk, Jack's thoughts were interrupted by the professor's voice. I verified the sequence numbers. Shall we begin? All right. The professor replied. I'll activate it now. He raised his hand, and a green magic circle appeared, followed by radiant white lights that engulfed the entire laboratory. The spell cast a dazzling brilliance, filling the room with its glow. Galleon was working up a sweat, focused on his experiment, while Rich and Phantom stood behind him, observing. I must leave for my lecture now. Thank you, Professor. One of them said. A while later, after the experiment concluded, Galleon stepped out, exclaiming, I never imagined I'd see a fully operational magical furnace in my lifetime. Thank you, sir. Jack waved it off. It's just a transaction. No need for such gratitude. You haven't forgotten the conditions of our deal, have you? Of course not, Galleon replied. Please, state your request. Without a word, Jack opened a small box. A brilliant golden light shone from within. Make me a sword using this, Jack said. The sight of the item inside the box made Galleon break into a sweat. Sir, this is a dragon fang, the hardest fang of Bahamut, the cursed abyssal dragon. Holding the box containing the dragon fang, Galleon couldn't contain his excitement. Drooling slightly, he muttered, the size, the condition, I've never seen anything like it. Where in the world did you find this? Jack's voice was calm but firm. It's Telecan Raker's second legacy. From finding it to retrieving it, it felt like grave robbing. Jack's gaze grew contemplative. It's complicated to explain, but before he could finish, he noticed something strange. Galleon's body was trembling, and his gaze dropped as if trying to steady himself. With tears and snot streaming, Galleon exclaimed, You've not only given me a magical furnace, but now you're giving me the chance to forge a dragon fang. Hearing those words, Galleon's entire demeanor shifted. His body seemed to ignite with an unseen flame. With newfound determination, he declared, I will repay your trust, sir. Once again, Galleon's face shone brightly, as if illuminated by the light of 10,000 Buddhas. I'm Galleon Hanberty. I'll risk my life for your sword, Galleon declared with enthusiasm and determination. Seeing the young blacksmith's eagerness, Jack smiled reassuringly. He thought to himself, this guy is really steadfast. Then Jack said to Galleon, all right, I'll trust you. Let's see what kind of sword you'll create. Galleon's resolve grew even stronger. As he hammered away, the words echoed in his mind. I'm counting on you. The scene shifted to a different location, the Platinum Hall. Inside Jack's bedroom, Jack had just returned from the blacksmith's. A sword truly worth getting excited about, he thought. It had been a week since he received the message telling him to return after his bet with Duke concluded. It's about time something happened, Jack muttered, cutting off his train of thought. Just then, the sound of footsteps approaching the door interrupted him. The door swung open, and a man stepped in, saying, "Why didn't you show up this time, kid?" Hearing the voice, Jack felt a fear deeper than hearing the devil himself speak. The man continued, "Answer me honestly." Looking toward the newcomer, Jack's gaze was both cautious and wary. The man's presence was so menacing it seemed like he was ready to kill. "Well, you said to return if I wanted to challenge the natural ceremony. Since I had no intention of doing that, I didn't come," Jack explained nervously. Hearing this, the man lunged at Jack, grabbing him by the collar. "I told you to be honest, didn't I?" Enraged, he lifted Jack off the ground with incredible strength. His bloodshot eyes glared at Jack, not Sharingan, but still terrifying. He hurled Jack forcefully toward the window. Jack's body flew out of the building, but his mind hadn't yet processed what was happening. What the hell? Jack thought in panic. By the time he realized he was in danger, it was already too late. Sweat poured down his face as he looked at the ground below. Too high. At this height, I'll die instantly without a chance to heal. He reached out desperately to grab the balcony, but another hand grabbed him by the collar instead. The man said coldly, "You don't want to challenge me again? I didn't think you'd grown so big-headed that you couldn't understand what I meant. No matter how you look at it, this is the opposite of what you should have done. You didn't show up after losing, not even to the infirmary. So, you've decided to provoke me on purpose, haven't you?" Jack thought bitterly. What the hell is wrong with this guy? The man's expression didn't waver. "I know exactly what you're thinking, but I'm letting this slide. You've got 5 seconds. This time, answer me truthfully. Isn't it absurd?" Jack said, his voice firm. The man continued his count, not even revealing his true identity. "Did I say something wrong? Garden Keeper Dister," Jack pressed. Hearing this, Dister smirked. Without warning, he grabbed Jack and threw him forcefully into the room. Jack's body crashed against the far wall before sliding to the ground. Jack sat up, clutching his head in pain. Dister continued, "You're right, kid. I used to be one of the Black Knights of the Draker family. I am Duck Draker." A moment later, Jack raised his hand to his chest, bowed slightly, and said, "Grand Elder of the family and former member of the Black Knights, I offer my sincerest apologies for my disrespect." Displaying the courtesy of a knight, Jack's gesture seemed to puzzle Duck, who asked, "What's with that expression? Did you anticipate this?" Jack quickly replied, "Not at all, sir." He then asked, "But Duck, you mentioned you were once a Black Knight. What does that mean?" "Simple," Duck said with a shrug. "I used to be a Black Knight, but now I'm a Red Iron Knight." Hearing this strange revelation, Jack couldn't help but wonder how such a thing was possible. Sensing Jack's unspoken question, Duck explained, "The rank of a knight can rise, but for it to fall? That's unheard of." Duck dismissed the topic, saying, "Don't think about it too much, kid. Let's move on." With those words, he slammed his fists together, as if signaling something important to Jack. Understanding the cue, Jack said firmly, "Since you've been honest with me, Duck, I'll be honest with you as well." Jack then began to tell Duck everything. After hearing his story, Duck asked, "So, from the very beginning, you guessed my identity and deliberately provoked me to become my official disciple?" Jack knelt before Duck, one knee on the ground, and declared, "Yes, that's exactly right." Duck smirked and replied, "You've got guts, kid." Extending his hand toward Jack, Duck said, "I'll take you as my disciple." The moment Jack heard this, he couldn't help but blurt out, "Huh? That's it." But quickly regaining his composure, Jack dropped to one knee in a formal pose. "Before you change your mind, Jack Raker, pledge my disciple's vow to you, the great Duck Raker, knight among knights. I request a disciple's token. I will follow the teachings of my master with utmost dedication, cultivate the virtues of learning, and strive to uphold and elevate my master's honor." Hearing this, Duck was surprised. "Oh, you even know the disciple's oath?" that's rarely used these days. Ziglap. Cultural knowledge is a virtue of a knight, isn't it? Feeling a bit caught off guard, Duke remarked. You sly little rascal. Jack smirked. I'll take that as a compliment. But, Master, may I ask you a question? Still adjusting, Duke replied. Calling me Master already? Huh? Fine. Ask away. Jack asked without hesitation. What did you find appealing about me that made you decide to take me as your disciple? Jack knew Duke was famous for not accepting disciples. Even the prodigy of the century, Android, had to plead for years before becoming his only student. Why did he accept me so easily? Jack wondered. I have a guess. He must have seen potential in me during the bet. Something far beyond Android's talent. Clearly, he has a sharp eye. With a smile, Duke raised his hand and replied. What do you think? With bright, confident eyes, Jack responded. Obviously, because I'm a top-tier prodigy. One could easily imagine Duke's face at that moment. Your confidence is truly admirable, Duke said. If that were the reason, I would have taken Rena as my disciple. It's because of your determination. Not every so-called prodigy can reach the level of a knight. Those who grow up without hardships crumble at the smallest challenges. Hearing this wisdom, Jack reflected. He's right. If prodigies are expected to at least reach the level of Iron Chain, many end up stagnating at deadly gray or blue steel. Suddenly, Duke stood up. Enough chit-chat. Follow me. Your first lesson starts now. The scene shifted to another location, a training ground beneath the Western Glasshouse. Who would have thought there was a place like this under a glasshouse? Jack wondered what was in store for him. He told me to run, so I ran. 3 hours later, Jack's thoughts were interrupted by a sudden command. Stop! So, I can stop running now? Jack asked eagerly. Duke replied, yes, but I want to ask you about this. He said, waving his hand to continue. Jack replied, Master. What do you want to know? Before he finished speaking, a robust figure appeared right behind him. A cloud of dust billowing into the air. Not much. The man said, grabbing Jack's hand without hesitation. But Jack quickly exhaled and stepped back. 10 full steps away, standing on the other side, the man stared at his smoking hand. He muttered to himself, checking this kid's energy isn't going to be easy. Ha! Hearing this, Jack remained silent, lost in thought. Something has been off from the start, at the clinic, during the trial, even in the greenhouse during the bet, and just now, after 500 laps around the training grounds. I couldn't sense any radiant energy from him. When I tried to check your pulse. You dodged. Don't tell me you can't use radiant energy. Kid. These words hit Jack like a dagger to his heart. His eyes widened, pupils contracting. The man continued. The bronze statue reacted. Didn't it? That unprecedented golden light caused a cerebral burst and brought you here. So why did you pull away when I tried to check your pulse? Jack, hearing this, turned his face away in confusion. Curiosity, not suspicion. He thought. A Draker unable to use radiant energy is a serious issue. But luckily for me, he seems more intrigued than alarmed. If I can get the GAM, no one will question my lack of radiant energy anymore. Until then, I need to tread carefully. There's no need for a long-winded lie, unlike in my previous life, when I was the first failed awakening of the family. Raising his hand, Jack removed the glove he was wearing. You're right, Master. He said. I even have the ability to influence spiritual energy, a hallmark of pure blood. But for some reason, I can't use radiant energy. As he spoke, Jack activated his spiritual energy reversal skill. This truth will shield my deception. He thought. Jack extended his hand toward his master. I apologize for earlier. He said. I was terrified. If word got out that a Draker couldn't use radiant energy, I'd be exiled. Asterisk. From Jack's hand stretched streams of spiritual energy, forming a link between him and his master. Asterisk, what do you think? Master. Asterisk. His master scrutinized Jack with piercing eyes, his thoughts racing. Asterisk, a kid with this level of determination at his age. But why can't I sense any radiant energy from him? Even after his awakening. Asterisk. Jack watched Duke deep in thought, and his own thoughts mirrored the moment. Asterisk, even if he checks my pulse, he won't be certain of anything. The blessing ceremony is of utmost importance. To the Raker family, even if I truly could awaken light aura, he'd likely find some way to rationalize the truth. Asterisk. Glancing at his master, who seemed about to say something, Jack continued his internal musings. Asterisk, he'll probably come up with a reason to explain it all on his own, like calling me a mutant. Asterisk. Mutant, Duke said aloud. Hearing this, Jack grew even more introspective. Asterisk, a mutant? Of course, that's exactly where this is headed. If he doesn't understand the concept of professions, then that conclusion makes sense. Asterisk. Breaking from his train of thought, Jack asked, what is a mutant? Master. It refers to people with unusual abilities. Duke explained. For example, someone who can use both light aura and spiritual energy, or someone who can see the future, things that defy common sense. Because of this, mutants are often treated poorly. So, don't go around telling people that you might be one. Chasing after Duke, Jack asked. Then why do you think I'm a mutant? Master. Your abnormal stamina and rapid recovery, Duke replied. No matter how minor it is, internal injuries take time to heal, but you recover instantly. I'm certain a massive amount of energy is consumed. What do you think that energy is? Jack answered. Light aura. Exactly. Duke nodded. My hypothesis is that any light aura you generate is immediately consumed by your stamina and recovery processes, leaving no trace for you to sense. Hearing this reasoning, Jack found it very convincing. He asked further, does that mean I'll never be able to use light aura? Master. Duke only chuckled. Don't worry, the hurricane technique doesn't require light aura. It's a special technique. Special techniques are unique skills developed by high-level knights. Typically, they're enhancements or advanced applications of standard techniques like dragon-slaying skills, which do require light aura. But my hurricane technique is entirely based on physical training. Let me demonstrate. Watch carefully. With that, Duke launched a strike toward the wall ahead. The blow left a massive dent, and Jack was left astonished. He couldn't even track Duke's movements, as the man's speed made him seem to vanish from the training grounds entirely. Here's the English translation of the passage, formatted for clarity and readability. The man finally stopped, standing right in front of Jack. A cloud of dust swirled around them. Did you see that? He asked. Jack responded. I just need to follow your footsteps. Right. If that's all you think, the man replied. Then I don't need to explain further. Jack stood up and stretched, saying, I've seen enough. The man smirked. Your confidence rivals that of a black knight. Very well. Show me what you've got. As soon as those words were spoken, Jack assumed his stance. His eyes narrowed, focusing on the faint footprint left by Duke during his earlier demonstration. Jack replicated the technique flawlessly, retracing Duke's steps with precision. Duke was taken aback. Jack had perfectly recreated the movements, seamlessly revealing the paths that had been invisible before. Every step was deliberate, whether to attack, evade, close the gap, or create distance. Not a single movement was wasted. Watching his disciple learn the advanced technique after just one demonstration, Duke marveled silently. Unbelievable. It's only been a week. Sure, he's talented, but at this level, what on earth happened in just 1 week? A perfect prodigy. His thoughts were interrupted by a hearty laugh that spread across his face. Jack turned to his mentor and said with a hint of pride, I think my confidence now matches the level of a black knight. Doesn't it? Hearing this, The veins of anger that had been pulsing on Duke's forehead subsided, replaced by an amused grin. If only this brat could get rid of that insufferable arrogance. Duke thought to himself. 1 minute he's crying, and the next he's already cocky. Jack tried to pull free from Duke's hold and said, "You're not planning to brag about me, are you?" "That depends on your attitude," Duke replied teasingly. "Damn this talkative mentor," Jack muttered under his breath, sweating nervously. How is a black knight not able to keep anything to himself? The scene shifted to the academy's dining hall. A plate of food was placed in front of Jack. As he ate, he thought to himself, "It's been a month since I started training under Duke's guidance. My portions just keep increasing." Mid-bite, Jack noticed something out of the corner of his eye. It was Andre, who approached and said, "Can I have a moment of your time?" Jack responded nonchalantly, "If it's here, sure. I'm busy." "Fine," Andre said, sitting down across from him. "So, how exactly did you manage to convince Peter? Let me know if you'd like any adjustments." Smiling face with smiling eyes. Hearing this, Rich was surprised and thought to himself. Straight to the point. Huh? Seems like he's flustered because I became a disciple, even though I haven't officially become one yet. Thinking it over, Jack replied, "Persuasion wasn't even necessary. Dister chose me himself." Hearing Jack's response, Andre was at a loss for words. "Ultimately, it's because you're true blood," Andre muttered. Jack was startled. "What did you just say?" he asked, putting down the knife in his hand to listen more carefully. "You're so weighed down by insecurity. Is that all you wanted to say?" "No," Andre replied. "That's only half of it. Even if he was initially drawn to your lineage, do you really think someone like Dister would take a disciple for such a simple reason?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "The reason I was able to become his disciple, beyond his initial interest, is my talent. So instead of wasting your time on jealousy to boost your confidence, why don't you put in the effort to become someone worthy of being chosen?" After saying this, Jack stood up and walked away. The scene shifted to the western greenhouse near the training grounds. Dister and Rich were standing together, watching Andre train intensely. Rich asked, "What's going on here, Master?" Dister shrugged. "I'm wondering the same thing, kid. What's wrong with that brat?" "That brat was practically begging to stay close," Dister continued. "He even offered to be a servant if necessary. So, I told him to run 300 laps without using radiant energy if he wanted to stay. And now, he's actually doing it." Jack, overhearing this, couldn't hide his surprise. 300 laps without radiant energy? That guy's completely insane. "I thought he was just an arrogant fool," Jack muttered to himself. "But it seems he does have some determination after all." The scene shifted once more to a different location. A voice rang out loudly. "You idiot! Did you forget what day it is today? The family head is visiting." A convoy of horse-drawn carriages, exuding an air of nobility, approached in the distance. Someone standing nearby called out, "The head of the family is arriving. Everyone, get ready." All the soldiers shouted in unison, "Yes, Headmaster." As the convoy approached, the headmaster himself stepped forward to greet them. A man gracefully descended from the carriage. "It's been a while. How'd?" The headmaster responded. "My respects to the master of the Draker family." The master of the Draker family confidently strode forward. All the soldiers saluted in unison. "We pay our respects to the master of the Draker family." Suddenly, an image of a clock appeared, pointing precisely to 12 o'clock. The cloak on the master's shoulders unexpectedly fluttered in the purple aura. He raised his hand, as if to punish someone, but instead placed it on the headmaster's shoulder. "You've been through a lot, I can imagine," he said. The headmaster replied, "My efforts are nothing compared to yours, Master." The man responded, "I will continue to count on you." This man was the head of the Draker family, one of the 3 great dragon slayer families of Arthur Draker. The headmaster continued, "The sun is rather harsh today. Let's head inside." Before he could finish speaking, the crowd below erupted in cheers. "It's the head of the Draker family." Arthur raised his hand. gesturing toward the entire family, and spoke loudly. Young dragon slayers, you are the future and hope of our family. Train harder and harder. Your growth is the growth of Draker. All the members knelt on one knee and responded in unison. We will engrave your words in our hearts. Master. Under the radiant sunlight, after concluding his speech, Arthur turned and said, All right, let's go. The scene transitioned to another location, inside the estate. A voice rang out. To the master of all knights and the guardian of the Dragon Slayer's honor, Arthur Draker. Jack Draker, a member of this family. Humbly offer my respect and greetings. It was our protagonist, Jack, standing upright with his hands clasped. He solemnly addressed the family master. Hearing this, the butler added, Even those at the Four Seasons Fortress no longer greet with such formality. Skip the formalities and take a seat. I heard you're quite fond of tea, so I brought something exquisite. I hope it suits your taste. Thank you, father. Jack replied. Seeing this gesture, Jack thought to himself, even my tea preferences have been reported back to the family. There's a saying, the emperor may not know everything, but the Draker family knows no bounds. Now I truly feel its weight. As Arthur sipped his tea, he spoke. The reason I called you here is that I heard some surprising news. Duke has taken on a disciple. Jack thought to himself. Straight to the point. Huh? No subtlety at all. Then he said aloud. Duke was simply being generous with me. Father. Is that so? If you say so, then that must be the case. Arthur replied. I don't know what your ultimate goal is, but as long as you follow Duke's teachings, you will become the strongest in the Six Lands. Arthur's face grew serious as he continued. Stronger than anyone, so that you may live freer than anyone else. Setting his empty teacup back on its saucer, Jack responded. That's my goal as well. The moment he finished, the atmosphere between the two grew tense. Arthur asked. So, does that include surpassing me? Immediately, an overwhelming pressure descended on Jack. Could this be? Jack thought. As a system notification appeared. Within this domain, the life and death of all beings are under control. Celestial swordsmanship, the pinnacle of radiant energy manipulation, can only be achieved by Black Knights. Arthur glanced at his son, surprised to see Jack smiling through the sweat dripping down his face. Jack boldly declared. Of course. Unfazed, Arthur continued sipping his tea, gradually retracting the immense pressure. Of all the things I've heard recently, this is by far the most interesting. Arthur remarked. Jack wiped the sweat from his brow, fully aware of the power possessed by the current head of the Draker family. Arthur continued. I came to visit the academy to encourage you, but now that I've seen you, encouragement alone isn't enough. Jack looked at his father, a true Black Knight, and thought to himself. I already thought Duke's level was absurd, but this is on an entirely different scale. Arthur handed Jack a card bearing the symbol of a dragon. Consider this a gift. He said. A token to commemorate you becoming Duke's disciple. A black card? Father is giving me this. Jack stammered, breaking into a cold sweat. Judging by your reaction, it seems you know what this is, Arthur said. A black card, issued to a select few elites, lay in front of Jack. It was rumored to provide extraordinary benefits, with no spending limit. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. To think I'd actually see this legendary card in person. Arthur continued. I'll add you as an authorized co-user. Feel free to use it. Jack bowed deeply, expressing his gratitude. Thank you, Father. I'll be sure to use it wisely. Holding the black card in his hand, Jack thought. The words are considerate, but the intention is crystal clear. Since the card records all transactions, it means my actions will be easy to monitor. Asterisk. Asterisk even so. The fact that he's using such a casual approach, instead of intense scrutiny, means he hasn't placed too much attention on me yet. Asterisk. His thoughts were interrupted by Arthur's voice. I can't afford to waste any more of your valuable time. Jack, you will become the strongest. You may leave now. Jack bowed again. Understood. Father. He stepped out of the room and walked down the hallway. Left alone, Arthur muttered to himself. What an insufferable brat. Why am I so agitated? Duke emerged from behind, smirking. He was neglected as an infant, and now you're playing the role of a caring father. As the family head, I don't have a choice. Arthur replied. You know that. And your earlier comment borders on slandering the head. Duke threw himself onto a nearby sofa, grinning. Fine. Arrest me then. Arthur let out a chuckle. This is why you're the only one I can truly talk to. Duke raised an eyebrow at the statement, but Arthur continued. Let's talk over a drink. Spotting the bottle of wine, Duke's eyes lit up like a starry night. Dragon's breath? And it's the red one? Now you're speaking my language. Arthur poured 2 glasses as Duke teased. You've heard about the strange happenings in the 6 regions, right? Arthur nodded. I fund the academy, not espionage. How would I know? Your network of spies across the 6 regions is still alive and kicking. Duke quipped, stroking his chin. You already know, so why ask? You old fox. Arthur's expression turned serious. The Emperor, obsessed with immortality, is scouring the entire continent like a madman. Duke frowned. And? Do you think it's possible? Of course not. Duke replied. Eternal youth may be achievable through magic, but true immortality? That's absolutely impossible. Arthur nodded in agreement, but then he leaned in, his tone dropping. But what if? What if it's connected to a dragon's relic? Duke's eyes widened in shock. What did you just say?